Yeah, that's right. Welcome to the motherfucking News Underground. Big motherfucking props to that artist, Funk Fusion, who I have been putting that track on repeat for the last, I don't know, week since I discovered it. G-Funk Sonic, the best Oil Ocean remix, easily skyrocketing to the top. Number fucking one. This is it. Oh yeah. My God. All right, folks, hope you're enjoying your day. This is the News Underground, the hardest, the realest motherfucking news channel on Twitch, bar none, without a goddamn doubt. So if you looking for news, you fucking found it, bitch. I mean, not you, proverbially. You know what I'm talking. We get into the real shit. We're not afraid to talk about it. We actually look shit up. It's a learning process. But this is the News Underground, and I am abandoned nihilism. We're going to be doing this for hours. I got so much fucking news, it'll blow your fucking mind, okay? Yeah, we got so much news. I don't, we're finally doing it. We're clearing out the browser. We're going to start with basically some headlines. First of all, just some really, just some of the stuff that's at the very top of the news. Then we're going to be jumping into Ukraine. Then probably finish up the Gaza stuff that I have. And then we're going to literally be jumping into random shit. Totally random shit. I need to close these tabs. I need to close my entire browser. Every time I open up my browser, my entire computer shuts down. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, and that still isn't enough for Chrome over here. It's a prison of my own creation, and today we are breaking out of it together. So if you want to join me on this news journey, you're welcome to come with. I assure you, if we run into something that's clearly crusty, clearly out of date, we'll just fucking skip that, of course. But a lot of really relevant stuff, a lot of really interesting stuff I got on these tabs, and I'd really love to show you. So hopefully you're in it for the long haul, because there's literally nobody here so far. So that's, it's okay. That's how things go. Saturday, 12:30, I open it up dancing like an idiot. I get it, okay? I get it. It's okay. I would literally do this stream if it was just me talking into the mirror. I gotta talk about this stuff. I have to talk about this stuff. I want humanity to have a record of me talking about this stuff before I kick the bucket. Hey, Chem Goblin, there he is. There's the true OG. True OG in that motherfucker. How you liking all this good news coming out of Ukraine, Chem Goblin? It's time to get positive again. It's time to remember why we're here. Now, look, I got a little bit of a mixed bag. It's not all sunshine and roses. I get that. But it's time to flip the script on that morale. Because we're bringing the fight right back to them. We're bringing the fight right back. There's good news. Absolutely. Absolutely. There are absolute signs of pushback. We got Putin stepping back. Oh, we didn't really want to take Kharkiv. Oh, we were just joshing. Let's get out of that bunker until we hear the sirens again. But let's get out of that bunker and let's remember what we're doing here. But we'll be getting to Ukraine very soon. I'm just going to get through this headline stuff first. So let's get right into it because it's Boeing Watch. New sound effect. Wait, no. There we go. New sound effect. It's Boeing Watch. It's Boeing Watch. That's right. Boeing Watch. New segment. Boeing Watch. I don't know. We're gonna whip cracks. Oh, the Wilhelm's perfect for Boeing Watch. Boeing Watch. Okay, so we got updated information here, folks. Pretty wild stuff, actually. A legit, according to the authorities, this is the, I believe the guy who supposedly committed suicide in the parking lot in his truck, and this is the note that he supposedly left behind. Don't worry, I got you covered, my darlings. Wait a minute. Where's the image I had it set up? Or did I put it? Oh, I put it on the wrong one. Hold on here. I got you set up, my guys. Don't worry. I rotated the image. We don't have to do this crap, you know, looking at it like this. Oh my God, I have so many images. I have so many images named image number. It's pathetic. Okay. Let's go ahead, transform, flip this bad boy. Okay, because this is, you know, I'm gonna say it, okay? And look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it though. This shit looks fake. I'm sorry. My bullshit detector is flying off the motherfucking hook right now. All right, my bullshit detector is going bananas looking at this note. You know, what are you doing here with the? Well, okay, like with the pages. No consistency, right? Like, oh, I'm crazy. This is like the Joker, right, from Suicide Squad, right? I'm the Joker, baby. I do wacky things. I'm totally inconsistent with how I write. I'm the Joker, baby. First of all, so I don't, you know, I'm not gonna look too much into that, but pretty stupid. You know, adults don't do this when they write. But crazy ones do. Depressed ones do. Okay. So let's take a look at what he said here. I pray the motherfucker that ruined, he's destroyed my life. Hey, day, exclamation point. What? P.S. The entire system. Or I'm looking over on the right side here. The entire system and bury me face down so Boeing and their lying ass leaders can kiss my ass. My family and friends, I found my purpose. Yeah, this is... Nah, man. I'm sorry, man. Look, I don't mean to, like, stir the pot of ignorance here. But what the fuck are we looking at? You know what I mean? Thank you for the follow, random individual. How you doing? Well, let's look at this other end here. America, come together or die. Okay, that's cute. I don't... Trump. Oh, he's a Trump guy too, guys. Sure. I don't know. I was not getting Trump vibes off of this guy. But hey, you never know. But on his suicide note, that's fine. Communists are still okay. Like, do not compare communists to, like, authoritarian fascists if that's what you're trying to do. I get the hatred because they're very annoying sometimes. All the time. So I get being annoyed with them and not wanting to be one. But let's not act like they're boogie people, okay? Because we actually need communists in our life. And that's kind of sucks because they're annoying, but too fucking bad. Okay, socialist ideas and socialist ideology is absolutely relevant, and we need it more than ever. So we can't just throw the commies away. No, I asked you. No, you asked me how I was doing. I just said what happened. I see. But you're like literal communist. You know, like you ran into like literal Nazis. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. A communist, you can have a drink with a communist. Okay, everybody, I acknowledge there's a difference between socialism, communism. At the same time, I feel comfortable using them basically interchangeably as Marx did. So suck it! Stop trying to make this happen. They're basically the same thing. I get it, it's an optics. Oh, I got this flavor, I got that flavor. We got to dumb it down for people like me. All right, anyways, back to the suicide note. You can have a drink with a Nazi. No, the fuck you can't. No, the fuck you can't, actually. I don't think so. You can throw a drink in a Nazi's face. If you're sitting down with somebody who tells you they're a Nazi and you don't immediately step up and say, fuck you, you got a problem. Yeah, random individual. There's a big difference between a communist and a tanky. Tankies? Nope. No, take your Mao poster off the wall, you jackass. What the fuck are you doing? Lefties need to start learning how to win again. And that's what I'm here to do. Okay? It's a dirty fucking game. You got to play the game that's on the table, not the one that's in your head. Not the one you want, not the one you fantasize about. Well, if it was this way, it'd be more fair. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Actually incredibly irrelevant what's fair in politics. They told me my opinion was wrong and I was racist in America. Yeah. All that fucking hammer and sickle jerk off bullshit. Get the fuck out of my face. Yeah, no, tankies and commies, different thing. Some commies in the chat are absolutely lovely people at the News Underground. Let's not forget that. It is the funnest thing in the world to shit on communists, though. I don't know what it is. Anyway, back to the suicide note, guys. This is Boeing Watch, okay? It's Boeing Watch time. It's Boeing Watch. Woo! It's Boeing Watch. Sound effect. It's Boeing Watch. Welcome back, Estonian. Welcome back, Ribbons. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, all you lurkers. So this is supposedly, just to catch everybody up, this is supposedly the suicide note from the guy that was in the parking lot in his truck. And I'm calling bullshit, man. This is so whack. This is so incredibly whack. It's like, you know, you've heard my criticisms. That's my feeling. It's whack. I didn't get Trump vibes off this guy. Trump people are bootlickers. They're not whistleblowers. They don't have morals. They don't have conscience. They don't care if a company is fucking other people over. You know, they're like, how can I get in on it? That's the conservative mindset. But thank you everybody for coming in. I do appreciate it. There you go. That's my feelings on the suicide note. I'll be letting you know every time a Boeing plane. I need to add this to like an RSS feed or something. I need where's Strategy member when you need him? Strategy, we need you, buddy. I need you to give me every single bit of Boeing news Strategy member runs into. That guy is like plugged in research, boy. All right, so there you go. That's Boeing Watch. Okay, sound effect. Added new sound effect. No one even cares. No one even fucking cares. No one cares about anything. Anyway, I can't find this clip, but I was reporting on Taiwan yesterday, and take a look at this image. Completely wild. So this is what happened. Just to catch you up in Taiwan, pro-China political party that's like, hey, it wouldn't be so bad to rejoin China. Hey, everyone ever heard of that China? Pretty cool, huh? It'd be pretty cool if China invaded us, took us over, huh? Literally, almost literally. They were trying to do some parliamentary bullshit to make the new prime minister, who is definitely not pro-China, who's pro-Taiwanese, who's pro-Taiwan, right? Pro-independence. So they're basically trying to do some strong arm illegal bullshit, straight up. Like they're not in the majority. So they're trying to do some strong arm shit to change the laws to make that position of power completely neutered. And people flipped out. Look, I don't advocate for violence, but China plays dirty. Okay, you need to remember that shit. China plays dirty with other people's countries, with other people's. Right, they meddle. Okay, and I'm not saying the U.S. doesn't. Okay, so please don't mistake me for a partisan. I'm just saying China's up to it. Okay, and they're happy to use really gross tactics to get what they want, which is, of course, they want Taiwan, dog. They literally want that shit. Davey was nice enough to provide this extra little bit from Taiwan here. This motherfucker. So this, look, I think I'm on this guy's side, straight up. Because look, I agree, it's uncouth. I hate to see government bodies acting this way. It's ridiculous. But I go back to what I said. China plays dirty. That's a fact. So one more time, I think this is something necessary to the procedure. I'm not even sure what. Maybe it's symbolic. Red Bull gives you wings. So he took a sip, and this is what happens. He's outie, dog. See ya, bitch. Hi. Yep. What you gonna do? I got the papers. He's got the papers. You can't do shit without the papers. That's a rule. That's in Taiwanese government. It's a rule. You can't do anything without these papers. Shut the whole thing down. I don't know. In the end, did his best to kill the documents with the speed. Oh, so maybe this was. Yeah, I did. So maybe the document. So maybe this was the bill or whatever. Yeah. So hold on to the bill. At one point, he was folded onto a chair. Yo! Oh, from the top rope. No, this motherfucker's saving democracy, dude. Straight up. I'm pretty sure he's preventing China from like literally destroying, assisting in the destruction of Taiwanese independence. I believe every country deserves to be treated, equal. You know what I mean? I believe in independence for, people in Ireland separating from the empire, things do get a little murky when you talk about, like, oh, well, then Texas can leave the union, right? It's like, well, okay. I mean, technically, yes, I do think, if the people of Texas really wanted to secede, go for it. But I'm also not against, renegotiating trade agreements with this new country and, putting them on par with our other, European partners and things like that. I certainly wouldn't be okay with, because what they want is like some fantasy secession where they secede from the union, but they basically still get to be treated like a country from the United States. They want their cake to eat and eat it too. But no, I'm just saying I support Taiwanese independence from China. I don't think, I understand there's a history there, but at the same time, I think, especially with this most recent election, the Taiwanese people had an opportunity at the polls to say, do you want to be part of China or do you want to be independent? And they chose independence. So there you go. I'm pro-democracy. I love it. I love to see it. I support their mandate for independence, their separation from China. All right, so we got to talk about this stupid shit, right? I know. Look, whatever. I know. Oh, I saw this on Morning Joe. Whatever. Look, I'm sorry. Welcome to mainstream media, News Underground. Here, let me get the Chiron up here. We got to talk about this dumb shit. Okay, it's funny. Hold on.
Judge Merchan's. I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
He's advising who? What? Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
So straight up.
So they're there talking about Merrick Garland. She tries some guilt by association, because that's how the legal system works now. That's how arguments work now, right? You talk about the crimes of one person, and in defense of that person, you basically bring up a non sequitur, basically saying, oh, some other person committed crimes before, and they were seen innocent, or whatever the argument. But isn't this it's one of the laziest attempts I've seen at a gotcha. They're over here talking about Merrick Garland. She's like, is someone's daughter employed by someone? Oh, your fucking eyelashes look slutty, bitch. Oh, I should maybe show it. That maybe help. Chaos reigned during a House Oversight Committee hearing on Thursday after Republican Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene mocked a Democratic lawmaker over her eyelashes. Hit him. Personal attack, which was directed at Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who is, She's snappy. I like her. Is she progressive? Not really. Pretty bog standard neoliberal, looks like. She's younger, so she's more left on the social stuff. But she's there to play the game. She's there to hold up the corporatist neoliberal flag. But she's got some zingers, you know. I like her. I like her energy, but her politics, you know. Okay, great. What do you think about single payer healthcare? Oh, blah 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 blah. You know, if I don't hear oh, I totally support that, and I think this is how we should do it, then yeah, okay, all right, okay. Obamacare, huh? Great, good stuff, huh? Yeah, really? You have no criticisms of Obamacare? Really? Okay, interesting. The personal attack, which was directed at Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, was leveled at the committee. Considered a resolution to recommend that U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland be found in contempt of Congress over defying a congressional subpoena. I'm actually okay with this. I don't. Were the Democrats there to like defend Merrick Garland? No, dude. I think he's completely incompetent. I think he might even be biased. You know. I think it's bullshit that he defied a congressional subpoena. I don't think anyone's above the law, even the attorney general. That's the whole point. Early in the hearing, Democrats, including ranking member Jamie Raskin, denounced Republicans for delaying the hearing while several GOP members attended former President Donald Trump's business fraud trial in New York City. Oh, yeah. So we've been seeing this trend with a bunch of the VP hopefuls are showing up to court to show solidarity with a criminal. But, you know, that's American politics now. Raskin's comments were repeatedly interrupted by Green, which eventually devolved into the Congresswoman getting into testy exchanges with the Democrats on the committee. At one point, Green directs a question across the aisle, asking if any Democratic members are employing the daughter of New York State Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan. So, like, literally, they're there to talk about this, Merrick Garland and being subpoenaed in contempt of Congress. And she's all like, oh yeah, whose daughter's working for Judge Merchan for my Trumpy baby? Ma'am, this is a Taco Bell. Who is overseeing Trump's criminal case? Crockett responded, what does that have to do with Garland? Okay, so we just saw the video there. Green eventually agreed to have her comments stricken, but told lawmakers that she would not apologize under House rules regarding decorum, blah, 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 undecorous. Okay, so she's trying to say this woman's eyelashes are, against which is a common fascist tactic inside a democracy, right? To use technicalities and things like that. We actually, I think was it Kentucky with those really progressive black lawmakers that have been fighting, decorum and those kind of and those kind of rules and gotchas are used quite often to shut these people down. Lefties, I mean. All right. Anyway, I'm done with this. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Yeah, we got to talk about this too. I'm just going to leave the dumb shit up there because, I mean, it's like, how much more evidence do we need? Hello. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like YouTube does not work properly. I need to close all these tabs. So that's what we're doing today. Look at that shit. How long did that take? Okay. Samuel Alito's snide denial of his January 6th flag is just as ugly as flying it in the first place. So if you're not sure what the hell's going on, Supreme Court Justice, literally the highest court in the land, who is supposed to be impartial, supposed to be looking at the founding documents, all that shit, and making impartial judgments, is obviously wildly partisan, incredibly corrupt, and fully willing to install a Republican dictatorship. And what's interesting to me is that I guess they somehow think that they're going to keep their power. Or are they okay just degrading their power at the altar of a Republican dictatorship? I'm not sure. You tell me. But this article is really something else. I'm going to read several chunks from it. So add more in real quick. Let me get a little refresher. Add one more incident to the shocking but not surprising pile. Actually, you know what would be better? It would be there we go. This is more appropriate. Add one more incident to the shocking but not surprising pile that grows mountainously high in an era of rising fascism. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito flew a flag at his house signaling support for the Capitol insurrection in the days after January 6th. So basically, what he's trying to say, the excuse that he's saying is that he was in a tit for tat with his neighbor, because his neighbor put up a sign, because his neighbor knows he's the Supreme Court. Put up a sign. The neighbor put up a sign in his house that, basically said, fuck Donald Trump. And, basically January 6th is bad, insurrection bad. And what they are trying to say is that Alito is trying to say that his wife, not him, his wife was responding to this neighbor's expletive. They were offended by the expletive. And the offense at the expletive was the reason for the upside down flag that they flew, I think, on January 7th or 8th or something like that. A couple days, apparently. There's photographic evidence. As a reminder, 4 rioters and 5 police officers died as a consequence of the riot. Alito is subtly suggesting that those deaths somehow are less offensive than some kids seeing a curse word. Even then, his logic falls apart at first blush. After all, children visit the Capitol every day, yet Alito is apparently fine with it being subject to people breaking windows, smearing feces, shedding blood, and threatening murder, all with quite salty language as the voluminous I can't read today. I can hear it in my head, but I can't say it. Voluminous video evidence from the day shows. Additionally, Alito's snide dishonesty is insulting, and it is meant to be. So that's kind of the important part of this article. For someone who feigns outrage at curse words, he is basically throwing a big middle finger to all American citizens. He's not just rejecting his duty as a public official to uphold democracy, but sneering at the idea that he even owes an explanation to the people he was supposedly hired to serve. And pay his salary. So this is a common attitude that we've seen from the justices for decades now. If I'm not wrong there, he feels no need to put the effort into a better lie. After all, why are any of us little people what are any of us little people going to do about it? And that's 100% true, because even now, even in the face of full-blown outrageous corruption from these characters, Thomas and Alito, right? That's who they are, and a couple others. Even in the face of their full-blown corruption, the Democrats are not talking about adding more seats. I understand you need a supermajority, but they're not even bringing it up. They're not even bringing it up. They have no intention. They have no drive or desire to use this mechanism to balance this court in the face of what is obvious activism and partisanship. Alito's quasi-denials operate as confessions, and not just of his and his wife's sympathies for fascist seditionists. I can say that. His open contempt for the idea that he has to answer to anyone radiates through these fake excuses. It ends up underscoring why he and the missus were so enthused about Trump's attempted coup. They agree with the foundational sentiment that the American people should not be in control of their government. Yep, as Adam Skewer recently wrote in The Atlantic, Alito expects the public to silently acquiesce to his authority without scrutiny, criticism, or protest. 100%. This is the attitude we're seeing from the justices. Alito sees us as subjects whose duty is to bend the knee to him and his preferred leaders like Trump. With his flag gesture, he signaled support for violence as the enforcement mechanism. So, it can't happen here, it can't happen here, it can't happen here. It's happening here. It's literally happening right in front of us. It's not a future thing, it's now. It's literally now. It's happening right now. What are you going to do about it? It's not an if, it's not a when, it's a now. In terms of fascism intentionally destroying democracy, to remove your ability to make choice about your leadership, about which direction this country moves forward, about how minorities and other people are treated, the level of equity a country can produce. We are losing complete control of all of that. All right. That's again, shocking but not surprising, yada yada. I can't believe it. Voluminous. See, I can say the word. I don't know. Sometimes. Voluminous. My God. I need to read out loud more. That's what needs to happen. I need to do those enunciation practice things in front of the mirror, like The Sims. Like in The Sims, you go up to a mirror and you're like, to bring up your charisma. He practices his speech in front of the mirror. I think that's what I need to do. Voluminous. What was that other one that I had so much trouble with as well? All right. Anyway, moving on. Got to talk about Rudy Giuliani. I mean, really, it's, the dumb shit continues, man. The fascist shit continues. No, this is definitely Fash Update. It's really great because moments after this was filmed, he got served papers, dude, and he left in a huff.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Who are these? All these women, dude. What is the deal? Oh, he's crying.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, he's crying. It's so sweet. America's mayor. America's mayor.
Do you want your country back?
Yeah.
700. What letter would you?
What? Kristen Ritter roasted for not knowing who Travis and Jason Cleese are on Celebrity. Who are Travis and Jason Cleese? Huh? Leave Kristen Ritter alone. She's a treasure to America. What are we talking about here? New York Post. Why don't we leave Kristen Ritter alone? Who are any of these people? No, well, Rudy Giuliani is relevant because he was Trump's lawyer for a hot minute and was totally happy to support a dictator fascist to take over, totally in collusion with this fake elector scheme. And if you don't know what the fake elector scheme, real quick, it was just an attempt to switcheroo, to literally in a juvenile manner, type up a fake certificate on Word and just say, "Whoop, slipped you one. Here's the real one." Wildly illegal and documented. That's the problem. Everybody that committed the crime put their name on it. So now they've had to pretend like they didn't know what was going on, but there's a lot of evidence coming out that they knew exactly what was going on. Yada, yada, yada. Incredibly illegal. Blatant attempt to steal the election. Blatant attempt to install a dictator. Leave Kristen Ritter alone. You have a protest spotlight section? Yes. Well, I mean, not specific protest spotlight specifically, but I am going to be showing protests somewhere in this. I definitely have protest footage, against definitely the UCLA stuff, but I'll probably skip a lot of the UCLA stuff because that's old news by now. There is one really great video, though, that Woke Patriot provided that was pretty cool, so might get into that one. I think it was an article, actually. It's a breakdown of of unmasking of the people who were the counter protesters who were assaulting people at UCLA protests. Ford the Perfect, lovely name. God, that's makes it, every time I see it, it makes me want to read Hitchhiker's Guide, or I guess just not protest but activist. Hey, if you got any links, I'd love to show them. Like I said, I'm going to be cutting through a lot of random news today, so this is the day to do it. So let's get back to it. Rudy Giuliani, yada yada. He got served his shit. He was doing his birthday party podcast with Steve Bannon. I mean, this guy's going down in flames. He's going down with the ship, and the reason I think he feels like this is the right move is because if Trump gets in, he gets a pardon. He's like, he'll get me out of this. He'll get me out of this. So. Blah, 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 blah. So the Rudy Giuliani camp is saying that he wasn't served, right after, they sang happy birthday. Because what they're saying is, oh, they served him right after they sang happy birthday to him. That's when they stormed in like Normandy. People were apparently crying. Blah, 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 blah. Pair served. Yes, the pair served Giuliani with a legal notice of his Arizona indictment for allegedly being involved in a plot overturning the 2020 election. Most of the 200 or so attended the bash, left by the time the AG's minions showed up around 11 p.m. So I don't know, maybe there is something to it that it was at the very end, that it wasn't timed like a movie. Because we all know when they do the Netflix show about this entire saga, they're gonna do it's gonna be like Game of Thrones, dude. You know what I mean? With like multiple, because there's just so many chapters to this story. But you know when they do that scene, it's gonna be timed like that, like Hollywood, right? Like, happy birthday to you. Here are your papers, Rudy Giuliani. Then he leaves in a huff. You know, cut to black. I can see it already. I can see the whole thing in my head. Giuliani, however, was not fazed, insisted a source close to the ex-mayor. It actually wasn't that big of a deal, insisted the source. So, I mean, that's probably the truth, actually, now that I think about it, because the truth is usually much more boring. And it sounds like that people were already, you know, trickling out, so that the party was already over with. But anyway, people were, you know, shocked and, you know, were screaming. Apparently one woman was crying. You know, oh, no, not America's mayor. All right. Little reminder here, Republicans, right-wingers in general, there's a pedophile problem in the right wing. I don't know if there's any other way to put it. But this is an ongoing trend. This is about a weekly thing. I see these, you know, every other week or so, maybe, be generous. But there's a serious pedophile problem in the right wing in general, right wing politicians, right wing religious leaders, and just right wingers in general. We, of course, see it guised as free speech when they want to share images of lolicon, right? There's no other way to put it, right? So here we have Christian Bumgarth, Georgia church volunteer and Christian school teacher. Christian Bumgarth has been federally indicted for distributing and possessing images of children under the age of 12 being sexually abused. Yep, we'll be reporting on that as well. Or the perfect. Kansas pastor William Dodd has been sentenced to over 27 years in prison for raping a 13-year-old girl who attended his church. I guess the Pope wasn't able to save him. Poor fella. I'm sure he tried. I'm sure he tried to get his, church, the institution, to help save him. New York Baptist pastor Nathan Cooper has been sentenced to 6 months in jail for the rape of a family member. Who do you think they voted for, huh? If they even voted at all. I mean, come on. Who voted? Who? Yeah, come on. Right on time. Here's the Nick Fuentes crap. So, look, this is not about gay shaming. This is about pointing out the incredible hypocrisy of Nick Fuentes. Okay. Like we needed to be reminded that anti-Semites are disingenuous and they don't play by the rules. They don't respect the rules. Of course, Sart on screen right now. My homie Sart, friend of the show, Sart, pointed out with his famous quote about anti-Semites and how they don't, it's a game to them, basically. So Nick Fuentes, who is a, proud, literally, he says things like, I think Hitler was cool. I think, fill in the blank, man. I mean, really, use your imagination from there. It's uber alpha male. I'm the, me and my groypers are so, we're so alpha. We hate sex. We think sex with women is gay, actually. These are the insane edgelords that are saying that kind of shit when you run across that social media. Like, what are you talking about? What? That whole what was it? Republican or it was MAGA communism came from these kind of characters. Breaking news. America's leading Nazi propagandist Nick Fuentes accidentally streamed himself watching gay porn today. His fans are trying to blame Mossad and the Jews. Of course, Sneeko over here, famous idiot, I think is the best way to describe Sneeko. A lol cow, I think maybe might be the right term, but kind of infamous for his. I mean, you think I'm an idiot with my reading ability over here? He didn't even know how to say fascist. Or no, that was Aiden Ross. Sorry, what did he say? Fascist? Sorry, that was Aiden Ross, other well-known idiot. But no, Sneeko is like literally, he's like a lol cow, I guess. Just a total moron. And of course, he's, as morons do, they believe people like Nick Fuentes because they're funny. They think they're funny and edgy and interesting. And, people like Sneeko often confuse contrarianism with brilliance. And, you going down that rabbit hole, you run into a lot of grifters. I'm sure Hitler would have been so proud to see as big as advocates in America as a gay Latino man. Get him. Absolutely Ford the Perfect. I'm going to be showing the film Look Who's Back very soon. I have to show that film. Or Guess Who's Back or something like whatever it's called. That film where that Hitler impersonator, comes back into modern German society and people fucking love him. But that actor who portrayed Hitler did such an amazing job of capturing why people were, why the populism, the language of, how Hitler was able to co-opt that language and make people feel like, this is a movement for liberation when in fact they were advocating for their own slavery. Idiots like Sneeko eat it right up. Stream messages. You can read that. Wait, turn this shit off. Nick, what the fuck? Hacked. Oh, they were saying hacked in the chat. So yeah, apparently the story is he ended his stream, so you can see people in the chat. It's kind of hard to read, but you see people in the chat saying, "Okay, good night, bye." F the J's, all that horrible racist stuff that they like to say. And then they're like, "Wait, what?" Because he thought, I think, it's really easy to do, guys. I could easily. Like, there's a button on my stream deck, right, where I could actually start streaming there. I could hit start streaming, and I could, really easily, and then slip into some Ram Ranch. So that's apparently what happened. I think Nick thought that he hit stop streaming, or hit the button, and then he proceeded to crank one out. We've seen this happen before. Jeffrey Toobin is a great example if you want to go lefty, but it's really easy to do, guys. It's really easy to do. That's what happened. So look, Nick, let's try to be positive about this. Let's try to be the only look at me and look at the stream, but let's try to be positive about this one and offer an olive branch. Clip this if you can. Offer an olive branch to Nick Fuentes. This is your opportunity to get away from this shit. To say, okay, I'm a bit of a fraud. I don't really believe all this Hitler shit. I'm kind of in over my head. I've had conversations with Donald Trump and Kanye West, and the whole thing's kind of getting out of control. I'm a gay man. I don't really understand politics that well. So this is your opportunity, right? To step back from that ledge, my friend. Okay? And just cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in, right? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sing the rest of the song. But you get what I mean, right? This is actually an opportunity for Nick to say, okay, look, joke's over, guys. This is kind of getting out of hand anyway. I didn't really know how to say it. I'm a full-blown super gay guy. I love dudes. I love dick. Clip all of this. But you know what I mean, right? This is actually an opportunity for Fuentes to throw this fake persona in the trash and you know, start the process of healing. Because honestly, I do think he's in way over his head. If you watch this guy for an hour and he's like an insecure child. You know, Arrested Development, the definition. Dunning-Kruger, the definition. So this is actually an opportunity for him to throw all this shit away. Send that to Nick Fuentes. You know, clip it for me. I'll clip it myself. Fuck it. I'll clip it myself and I'll send this to Nick Fuentes. You know, we'll have a private conversation, man. We can talk about it. You know, I'll be your PR guy. I'll do it. If Nick Fuentes wants to completely throw away his Nazi identity and admit that he's a gay man who doesn't really understand politics that well and it was just kind of trolling and it got out of hand, I would gladly be his PR guy to reintroduce the real Nick Fuentes to the world. I would help him do that. Honestly, I feel like it's like, what's, you know, Roblox, you know what I'm talking about? I mean, what direction is the Nick Fuentes character going to go in? You know what I mean? Some self-induced Roblox, right? You know, there's really no other direction. It's wildly unhealthy. So this is an opportunity. I think Tisriel, who put this in the Discord. It was really a cool article. Let's see, I want to make sure we give proper credit here. Because I don't see them post too often. Y, I guess their name is Y ... Okay, whatever. Thank you, Y ... with an icon that looks like a fisherman for this link. Because this does, we, you know, with all of our support for Ukraine, we also need to be reminded. Let's go ahead and come on over here. Come on over. Yeah, I'm going to do that too. Yep. Oh, yeah. We're going super cringe today, guys. Military industrial. No. Is it? I spelled that wrong. IAL? I can't spell. Complex. I don't know how to spell. I really don't know how to spell, guys. It's like a serious problem. Oh, I did get it right. Yeah. InstTR. Okay. See, I have like, okay. I also have really bad imposter syndrome, and I'm constantly telling myself how bad my spelling is, and I forget how to spell really easy words. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm dumb. But no, the military-industrial complex is not dumb. You know, all my I totally ignored any grammar in school. I totally ignored all of that. I don't know how I even completed my workbooks. Certified leftist moment. Yeah, I know. We don't really know what we're talking about. Everybody's a fascist. We're actually the real idiots here. Look, I have a lot of criticism of the left, but the one thing that the left has that the conservative movement that will never have is the moral high ground. You know, does it really matter if it costs a little bit more to, you know, to prevent people from dying in the streets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? It's like, no, I'll pay that. That's the difference. Certified leftist moment. Damn, son, where'd you find this moron? I'm the new Oppenheimer, my soul-destroying day at Plainter's first ever AI warfare conference. I wanted to show this because as leftists with, you know, who are supporting Ukraine, and, you know, even, you know, it's Palestine has the right to defend themselves. I just wish that they weren't. I just wish that, you know, a horrific terrorist operation wasn't one of the largest organizations doing that. With that said, there are anti-Hamas or organizations that don't agree with Hamas that are also resisting. What I'm trying to say is that if leftists are ever really going to you know, if progressive leftism wants to really exist, we have to have answers for how we're going to deal with geopolitical military situations. You know, Bernie Sanders had a hard time with this, you know, because it's like, how do you be anti-war but also pro-defense when those two things are so intertwined? And I think it's really difficult for a lot of people on the left to criticize the military-industrial complex while also, you know, doing things like supporting Ukraine and, of course, supporting Palestinian liberation from Israeli oppression, things like that. It can be very, very difficult. This article shows us that the military-industrial complex is firing on all cylinders. There's no stopping it. It's a completely separate entity. And we saw with characters like Barack Obama and Jimmy Carter that it's out of control, just as we were warned. I believe Eisenhower is the person who warned us, if I remember correctly. So this article is frightening. It's filled with a bunch of pro-war maniacs who are they're like, they call themselves the peace activists are war activists. Karp insisted, we are the peace activists, which is that old adage, peace through war. You want me on that wall kind of shit. With that said, though, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, though, because why are our toys so dominant in Ukraine versus Russia? Because we're spending unbelievable amounts of money. By the way, look at this woman right here. She's like, "Are you a leftist? Are you a leftist? You look like a leftist. Leftist alert. Go. Dirty hippie." Palestinian movement is not unified. None of them can agree on what the borders of Palestine is. That's not exactly true. There has been, in the various negotiations, agreements on 1967 borders. Like, okay, fine, you've taken this much. If you stop right now and just let us be a country, if the bloodshed stops. That doesn't matter, though, because the goal from the very beginning is taking all of Palestine. It is a shame, though, that the Palestinian Authority, Hamas, it's not fair to compare the two. Even though the Palestinian Authority has not condemned the October 7th attack, they did recently come out and criticize Hamas they basically said that, I think I had this article queued up, actually. I wanted to talk about it. But no, I didn't have it. Damn. But no, there was a headline just today about how Hamas is being criticized by the Palestinian Authority for basically, their October 7th giving Israel the justification it needed to further destroy the Gaza Strip. So, blah blah blah. I mean, shaky shoulder. No, there was one part of the art. Yeah, the peace activists are the war activists. So swarms of people migrated across the hall to hear where Karp and Schmidt spoke alongside the CIA Deputy Director David Cohen. So I mean, just give you an idea of the connection here. Good evening. Please enlighten me on that topic. So far, the only time I heard the term Oppenheimer is when I think about the first nuclear bomb. But this is a quote from one of these ghouls in the crowd who are like, they're joking. They're joking about how how deadly their thing. I mean, it's just like, here, on the 7th and 8th of May in Washington, D.C., the city's biggest convention hall welcomed America's military-industrial complex, its top technology companies, and its most outspoken justifiers of war crimes. Of course, that's not how they would describe it. It was the inaugural AI Expo for National Competitiveness. Cute naming, huh? Hosted by the Special Competitiveness Studies Project, better known as the Techno-Economic Think Tank, created by the former Google CEO and current billionaire Eric Schmidt. Do no evil. The conference's lead sponsor was Palantir, a software company co-founded by Peter Thiel, well-known billionaire psychopath, that's been known for inspiring 2019 protests against its work with immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, at the height of Trump's family separation policy. Currently, Palantir is supplying some of its AI products to the Israel Defense Forces, and we covered this. One of the AI programs, I believe, was called Daddy's Not Coming Home, or something like that. And there was some cringy name for the other one there. The conference hall was also filled with booths representing the U.S. military and dozens of its contractors, ranging from Booz Allen Hamilton to a random company that was described to me as Uber for airplane software. Ooh. Oh, so those pacifists often really are basically just war activists. Yeah. Well, it's it's really the difference between, do you believe in, negotiations and peace, or do you believe in might makes right? If you believe in might makes right, then, fuck it, the wheel, you go nuts. Go nuts. It's all justified. Yeah, okay, so that's the part that I wanted to read. And at industry conferences like these, powerful people tend to be more unfiltered. They assume they're in a safe space among friends and peers. I was curious what they would say about the AI-powered violence in Gaza, or what they think is the future of war. So basically, they, totally wildly out of touch, saying a bunch of horrific things. Earlier in the panel, Milley had said that modern war involved conflict in dense urban areas with high levels of collateral damage, clearly alluding to the war in Gaza, but too afraid to say it. So, they're instead of trying to devise technology that would prevent this, they're embracing mass casualty warfare. Because it's like, once again, might makes right. All limitations are off. It's now a weapons race for all eternity. By the way, with all the other might makes righters, a never-ending arms race that, of course, ends with the annihilation of mankind. Oh yeah, no, they got to embrace it. They're making mega death weapons. Neutron bombs that suck the oxygen out of a 1 mile radius, that kind of crazy shit. If you fucking eyeballs pop out of your out of your head because all of a sudden the pressure is differential is all different, and your fucking body thinks it's on Mars. But every time Karp spoke, Milley became more bombastic. By the panel's end, he was describing Americans who oppose the war in Gaza as supporting a terrorist organization. So the conflagration of Hamas and Palestine is, come on. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, they're all terrorists. One great show to watch if you want a little taste of what it looks, what this kind of barbarity looks like up close and personal. Generation Kill. I think it was an HBO show, 2009. Really gave you a really good look of how America dehumanizes, how America justifies killing children. I try to keep up with the most important U.S. news during the week. Obviously, I miss much. Yeah, same here, Blue. I can't even fucking read. I just thought of something. I am the new Oppenheimer. My God. Okay, where is this? Hold on. Where is this quote? I actually didn't get that far when I was pre-reading this article. Okay. Shaky soldier vision. After pacing around for 10 minutes trying to enter a social headspace, I plugged my phone into an outlet and said hi to a person next to me, a man who appeared to be in his late 50s. I asked what he thought about the panel. Smiling meekly, he said it was interesting to hear Milley describe the Second War that way. Quote, "Have you seen Oppenheimer?" he asked. "No," I said, "but I read The Making of the Atomic Bomb." I thought he was going to talk about the hubris of people who built weapons of war. Instead, he told me he works in nuclear weapons research at Los Alamos Laboratory. Reaching into his backpack, he handed me a few Los Alamos pens and stickers. He's got some swag. After chatting for a few minutes, he wouldn't get into much detail about his work, but did show off pictures of his expensive-looking rental car. He started packing up his things. Quote, "I just thought of something," he said, abruptly laughing. "I'm the new Oppenheimer." Cool. All right. I managed to force a laugh as he started back at the Los Alamos booth. Oppenheimer had a conscience. His whole thing is that he fuck man, I created something that's going to destroy humanity eventually. And he might not be wrong. Whenever you miss much, imagine how much I miss here in Germany. Oh my God. I'm imagining it right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a lot of news. Welcome from south of Boston. It's your boy, Lenny. #1 financial contributor to the News Underground and all around hardcore motherfucker. Welcome back, Lenny. Thank you for coming back to the News Underground. Oppenheimer's like, damn, I love science, but it sucks that it kills people, but damn, I love science. and cheating on my wife. That's a quote. It's a quote from the movie. He says, "It's Oppenheimer time," and then cheats on his wife. Great scene. Link here from your boy Woke Patriot. I thought it just, the two were connected. Military-industrial complex. New Star Wars plan. Pentagon rushes to counter threats in orbit. So, this is, like I said, it's perpetual. Perpetual. Bop, 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 bop. Always escalating with the might makes writers. And what is the conclusion? What is the grand crescendo? The annihilation of mankind. Okay? Because this is just one tendril of this race. We had COVID. Let's not forget. We're still not sure if that shit was engineered. And was COVID an opportunity to talk about, wait a minute, if it was engineered, why in the hell are our governments spending our taxpayer money to develop super fucking viruses? That doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? And of course, what they want to do is they want to create a chemical weapon that kills only Americans somehow. And vice versa. A weapon that only kills people in China. That kind of shit. They're spending money on it. Trillions. So I don't know. I don't know. I've seen a lot of contradictory information. Blue Brother. I'm basically 50-50 because every time I see information that's like, oh, it definitely wasn't, I see conflicting information that's like, well, here's a couple more pieces of evidence that it might have come from the lab in China. I cover you yourself, Blue Brother, have said, I don't have time to cover the news, yada yada yada. I'm telling you, I cover this stuff. I'm obsessed with it. The COVID stuff comes across my desk. And yeah, every time I see an article, like I said, it's like, I'm totally on the fence. I'm not sure. Yeah, Chem Goblin, great. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Every time I see evidence, it's like, oh, that's pretty suspicious. Like, well, there's a perfectly good explanation for it. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is that, Blue Brother, our governments are spending our money doing that. The weapons industry, the military-industrial complex, is 100% spending our taxpayer money, in some bio lab somewhere, deep somewhere, trying to make super viruses. You don't think that's happening? It's absolutely, you don't think that's happening in China? Okay, oh, it's not happening in America. Oh, yeah, because we're so fucking moral. Okay, you don't think it's happening in China? And why is it happening? Because it's an arms race. It goes right back to Oppenheimer, right? Because the whole thing was like, well, it's a race against the Nazis. You don't want the Nazis to get the bomb first. Well, no, I really don't. Actually, that's a pretty good point. I really don't want the Nazis to get the bomb first. I don't like the bomb, but cat's out of the bag. Thanks, Albert. Great job, Einstein. Literally. That's funny. I didn't realize that at first. So the cat was out of the bag. And it's the same thing with the bio stuff. Cat's out of the bag. We've mapped the genome. Now we're playing with it. Ooh, what kind of, imagine the abominations that have been created in these deep secret government labs trying to make some super soldiers or something. It's happening. Oh, you don't think there's super soldier programs? Okay. No, we've only mapped the genome and all what they're doing down in those deep dark labs that they're spending all our money on. They're trying to cure cancer. Okay. So, Pucky, so what? All right, so let's talk about Georgia here real quick. Another Georgia update, protest update here. Does Georgia want to be a tax haven for Russian billionaires?
The demonstrations over the Foreign Agents Bill have been full of vivid moments.
It's funny.
Competing visions of a country's future, literally clashing with each other. One of the focal points, the Georgian Parliament, Rustaveli Avenue, Tbilisi. The fulcrum of a country, seesawing between Europe and now Russia. All the fury that's been directed at this building because of the Foreign Agents Bill. But the question that keeps niggling is, why are the ruling parties so hell-bent on pushing this legislation through in the face of mass demonstrations, in the face of possibly jeopardizing EU membership? Is there more to all of this than meets the eye? The real seat of power here is up in the hills overlooking the city, one of the homes of Georgian oligarch Bitsina Ivanishvili. This is the glass house built with millions made in Russia, where he grew the Georgian Dream Party from seed. Ivanishvili is an enigma. Depending on who you ask, Putin puppet, pragmatic man of the people, knows which way the wind is blowing. And for him, for now, the wind is blowing from Russia.
There's a lot of evidence, Blue Brother, I'm telling you, man.
Was Ivanishvili's advisor when he was prime minister in 2012.
I'm not
While all
100%
the attention
on the bad
has been
story.
on the Foreign Agents Bill recently, he wants to talk about tax. Last month, Georgian Dream MPs passed an amendment to the Georgian tax code. It meant that very rich people could transfer their assets to Georgia without incurring any tax. While no one stormed the parliament, for this former advisor, it's all about what he calls Operation Ivanishvili, to create a tax haven in Georgia for Russian money.
აქედან გამომდინარე, ბიზნესმა დაინახა შესაძლებლობა, რომ შესთავაზოს კრემლის სალაროს, რომ ეს აქტივები გადმოფორმდეს საქართველოს იურისდიქციაში გადმოვიდეს და ის აძლევს პირობას, რომ აქ ისინი იპოვიან ისეთ სამოთხეს თუ რაღაც ისეთ ძალიან მყუდრო სავანეს. ეს შესაძლებლობა დაინახა და დაიწყო აი ეს დიდი ოპერაცია.
According to him, that's one stage of the operation. The other stage is making sure that Ivanishvili's political system is secure to act as a sort of safe for all that money, no questions asked, which is where the Foreign Agents Bill comes in.
ამას რა ჭირდება? ამას ჭირდება პოლიტიკური სტაბილურობა, ხო? ანუ გარანტორი თუ არის ბიძინა ივანიშვილი, შესაბამისად ბიძინა ივანიშვილს უნდა კონდეს იმის რესურსი, რომ მისი პასუხისმგებლობა აღასრულოს, ხო? ამისათვის ის უნდა იყოს მუდმივად ამ ქვეყანაში, არ უნდა იყოს ამის კრიტიკა, არ უნდა იყოს ამის ძიება, ანუ არ უნდა დარჩეს ქვეყანაში არც ერთი ინსტიტუტი, რომელსაც ამასთან დაკავშირებით გაუჩნდება კითხვები.
So in other words, his thesis is this. Ivanishvili wants to make it easy for his oligarch mates to move their assets to Georgia, and he wants to guarantee the safety of those assets in a country where annoying journalists and anti-corruption groups won't be asking awkward questions. We've tried to put all this to Ivanishvili, but being a reclusive oligarch, we haven't heard back from him yet.
This is you're talking about this is the oligarch. Okay.
Gosh.
Yeah. During the week, we've met several critics of the government who've been attacked or intimidated by people they describe as Georgian Dream thugs, something the party denies. Yesterday, we spoke to Professor Joseph Berekashvili. He was fired from his university job as Dean of Economics just a few days ago. He says a call was made to his boss. Like, did somebody actually call your boss and pressurize him directly?
Yes.
And who called your boss?
State Security Service of Georgia. He told so.
Okay, your boss said.
Yeah.
So why? Berekashvili has always been a vocal critic of the government, but in the last few weeks appeared on Georgian TV shows to talk about a certain policy specifically.
I think that my comments on TVs about so-called, we call it offshores law,
which is actually amendment to the Georgian tax code. My comments about this was the trigger, I think.
His working assumption is that with sanctioned Russian oligarchs finding it harder to move assets around because of the war in Ukraine, this new tax policy is a gift for them.
Interesting.
At all the demos this week, the Georgian national anthem is
Man,
followed
they're up to
by
it. Putin's
Ode
up
to
to
Joy.
it, man.
For the more mature demonstrators all the
That
way
guy
down
is
to the
up
younger
to
ones,
everything.
this place is not a tax haven, it is home.
Hell yeah.
And for them, that should be in Europe for generations to come.
Excellent stuff. All right, so that we got to do a little follow up here. President Georgia's pro EU. Okay. Yeah. Veto. I want to know more about this veto here. I'm shocked to hear this. Here we go. So this is 4 hours ago. Georgia's president vetoes media law that has provoked weeks of protests. So that's fascinating. Was there any doubt that she wasn't going to do this then?
veto
Sorry. This is why we're closing tabs.
veto რუსულ კანონს. ეს კანონი არის თავის
There was no doubt. So they
არსით
protested anyway. Interesting.
სულისკვეთებით რუსული კანონი,
Spirit of the Russian language constitutes the Constitution and European standards, and thus represents an obstacle.
ჩვენ
But the Parliament can revoke
კონსტიტუციას
and pass it though anyway.
და ეწინაამდეგება ყველა
Okay, so the veto was expected.
სტანდარტებს
And they're gonna. This
და
is the
ამდენად
next step.
წარმოადგენს შეფერხებას
That's fine, Blue Brother.
ჩვენ ევროპულ
Fine.
გზაზე.
I'm still on the fence, man.
ეს ვეტო
I've seen too
არის
much
სრულიად
information.
გამართული იურიდიულად და დღესვე
We need
გადაეცემა
a comprehensive
პარლამენტს. ეს
investigation
კანონი
now.
არ ექვემდებარება არავითარ ცვლილებას, არავითარ გაუმჯობესებას
Your
და
simplest law
ამდენად
must be
არის
abolished.
ძალიან მარტივი ვეტო ეს კანონი უნდა გაუქმდეს.
I see. Okay, so this is the next step. She vetoed, but the veto can be overturned. Okay, interesting stuff. Thank you for that update, Chem Goblin. Did not see that in my news scroll when I was scrolling. Very interesting stuff, and that's all we have is just that one video. That's all we got right there from the AP. So we'll definitely be following up on this for sure, because it looks like it's the media thing is one thing, but it looks like they also would really like to make it a tax haven. But with this kind of quite frankly, shouldn't we be helping out Georgia? Let's get another proxy war going. One isn't enough. Let's get another one going. But I don't know. I feel like we should be helping Georgia out if they're also on the 20% of Georgia is occupied by Russia, I believe. Kind of almost the exact same scenario to Ukraine. Really, we kind of like we were found flat-footed when Russia first invaded, and then Russia took Crimea, and still flat-footed. I don't know, man. Let's get another proxy war going. Come on, guys. It's just like a relationship where they just have another kid to fix the relationship. Just saying. I'm just saying. Wanted to show this here. Okay, so moving on to actual Ukraine news now. I'm just saying, what would be so wrong with Come on, let's. Don't be party poopers now. Get another proxy war going, and it won't be so bad. Here we go. Gotta have a little tunage. Spaced from Top Shelf, love it. Lovely album. Listening to on the stream quite a bit. So thank you, Spaced. Just want to have music ready to go. But no, this is really great. Zelensky meets wounded soldiers in Kharkiv hospital amid Russian advance on region. Did I already cover this one? I feel like I might have already covered it here, but I was if I didn't, I'm going to repeat myself here, and I'm sorry. It's only a 45-second video for 45 minutes. But I'm pretty sure people might want to criticize him for his haste in throwing these medals, but I honestly think he's in a hurry to get out of there so that he's not putting these soldiers in risk. You did not, from what I remember. Okay, so maybe I was just talking to myself when I was queuing this video up. But yeah, I mean, because you'll see here, like it's a little informal, a little bit, kind of like he just kind of puts the medal down and kind of hands him out like a teacher would be handing out something at a school. Not exactly that bad, but you know what I mean. But I think the reason why is that he's in a hurry to get out of there because obviously the any part of Ukraine can be hit right now, at any time. And they got the air defenses going, but it's still there's a chance that these people could be hurt. So he's got to get the hell out of there ASAP. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Пане президент, старший лейтенант.
Бажаю здоров'я, хлопці. Я хочу вам подякувати, хлопці, за те, що ви робите. Дякую вам за вашу мужність. Одужуйте.
Центральний біля населеного пункту Соснова Львів Харківської області.
Дякую за службу.
Святославович. Служу українському народу.
Лежіть, будь ласка. Дякую за службу.
See what I mean?
Максим.
He just kind of tosses it.
Дякую за службу. До побачення, хлопці. Всього найкращого. Слава Україні.
See what I mean? Like it's like wham bam, wham bam. I think he's trying to get the hell out of there so he's not making the hospital a target. The video does skip around, but his general body language is very okay, let's go. Oops, it says Georgia there. Let me fix that real quick. No. But I'm not going to blame him for that. He's a busy man. He's a very busy man. And it's really amazing that he found it important for him to put his life at risk, but it's incredibly risky. He's the hot target, man. He's the number one. He's the hot potato. And he's what, a couple 100 kilometers from the front line, going to a hospital in Kharkiv. So the theme of today is, of course, there's some news that isn't so great. We have people getting evacuated from some of the areas north of Kharkiv and west of Kharkiv, something like that. Fighting rages on, but it's not all bad news. The ammo is getting there. I have an unbelievable article. Listen to this. Zelensky. No reports of artillery shortages for the first time in full-scale war. Hey, Zelensky, if it's full-scale war, if that's a quote from him, I wonder. But hey, man, if it's full-scale war, let's see that total war transforming your economy into a total war economy. For the first time since the launch of Russia's full-scale invasion, no Ukrainian brigades have reported a lack of artillery shells, President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters on May 16th. This has been happening for the past 2 months, he said, but added everyone still has a lot of work to do. I'm not sure if he said total war or not. The idea of not making the hospital a target. Can Russia really keep track of Zelensky in real time? He's thwarted, I think, over 10 assassination attempts. Confirmed assassination attempts. He's been saying that the whole time. About total war? Okay. Everything is, he's waiting on the election. Everybody's waiting on this fucking stupid American election. If I could push a button to make the American election happen in 2 weeks, I'd push that button. I'd roll the dice just to make it stop. You realize this presidential election's been happening for 4 years. Since the end of Trump, it hasn't stopped. The never-ending presidential election. The Ukrainian analyst says that Zelensky was wrong here. They speak to soldiers directly who are still lacking artillery. God damn it, Davey. All right. Davey would have a source. If you have the time, Davey, if you could provide me any kind of source, that would be great. All right, so there you go. That's the article. I just wanted to read the headline and be happy for a second. And then Davey had to ruin that. But truth hurts. Truth hurts. I had my doubts myself. I was, like, that really true? At first, he was against the full-scale thing, saying that an invasion is an invasion. It can't be part scale or full scale, but at some point, he started saying it too. I see. Well, it is what it is. But he's waiting on the election. He wants to make sure that Joe Biden has his back before he makes such, because honestly, if Trump wins, and he doesn't do a 180 like Davey thinks Trump will do a 180 on Ukraine because the military-industrial complex's influence, and Trump might also want to take this opportunity to to have a W for Trump, right? So there is a possibility that he does a 180, but there's also a possibility that he keeps his promises about NATO and defunds Ukraine, and Zelensky basically has to start the negotiation process right then and there, because it's just a matter of time, and Putin would know that. For the first time during the war, none of the brigades complained that there were no artillery shells, he added. So Davey's saying every Ukrainian analyst that says that Zelensky was wrong here. Okay. You guys are party poopers, huh? Come on. Where's your patriotism? Can't you pretend everything's fine on the front lines for your country? But no, folks. Okay, so it's a mixed bag. But let's try not to get, doom and gloom over here, because honestly, there are some Ukrainian W's. So right here, evidence of a successful destruction of ATACMS. Wow, 2 ATACMS. These are incredibly expensive aircraft. The kind of anti-radar, jamming, scanning, detection planes. They fly way up in the sky, and they do all kinds of radio telecommunication stuff. In Belbek Air Base in occupied Crimea, 2 MiG-31K and an ammunition warehouse destroyed. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a ATACMS. I'm sorry. I was thinking of AWACS. ATACMS is the missile. I'm sorry. I'm getting all mixed up. So using ATACMS, they were able to destroy 2 MiG-31Ks and an ammunition warehouse. So this is what it looks like before. We got 2 MiG-31Ks and an ammunition right here. See, this is why I leave it to the military bloggers, right, with their terminologies and things like that. No, so these are not the AWACS that I was describing, a radio telecommunications plane. These are just, looks like fighter jets. Looks like all 3 were destroyed, though, so that's good. Nice hit. Excellent job. Yeah, exactly. That's good. A bit of good news. Ukraine's Volchansk, the largest city currently in the focus of Russian assault. This is only a day, only 24 hours old, so.
Our guys are fighting well and successfully along the entire front line.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That is not true. And that footage is crazy, by the way. I don't think I've shown that footage yet, but look carefully at this footage right here. It's this Ukrainian peeking around the corner. He sees something, and I mean, like, every muscle in his body reacts to try and push him back. He even does this. Jet fuel storage destroyed. I don't know if you've lined this, had this lined up. I don't think so. I only had one of those. I'll get that lined up there. But really crazy footage. Watch this. Right here. He's like, oh shit. Right, but that's what situational awareness looks like. That's why you, that's why you listen to the people that are training you, to help you save your life there, because you don't go around corners. I'm sure they don't teach you to go around corners. La da 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 da, and right there, that saved his life. That gun was pointed right at that location. He was ready to shoot.
You didn't let the enemy break through. You're strong
Davey,
warriors.
You didn't have to do that while you're driving. Thank you. I'll definitely show the clip. Thank you, Davey.
More help is on the way.
Hi,
we're rushing ammunition, armored vehicles, missiles, air defenses.
The unfortunate delay in delivering weapons had a significant impact on the front.
It's too early to draw conclusions, but the situation is under control.
Just
and to our viewers watching on
barely,
PBS in the United States and to
Just
all of you
enough
around
time.
the world, welcome. We begin the day with a change in plans. In an effort to sustain international support for his country's battle against Russia, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had planned to visit Spain and Portugal this week.
Yeah, 500,000 leaders.
Instead, he spent the day in the city of Kharkiv, visiting wounded soldiers and meeting military commanders. Ukrainian forces have been locked in bitter fighting against Russian troops northeast of Kharkiv since the launch of a surprise offensive last week. Ukraine says the situation on the front line has been largely secured, but Russian troops have seized a few kilometers of territory on the Ukrainian side of the border. DW's Max Zander has been to Volchansk, the largest city currently in the focus of this latest Russian assault.
For the people of Volchansk, this is a nightmare repeating itself. The Russians attacked and occupied the town at the start of the full-scale invasion, but were pushed out. Now, they're back.
And this here is what the situation in Volchansk is turning into at the very moment. Behind me here, this is a residential building. It was struck by a glide bomb, from what we've been told, just about 20 minutes ago.
2 women were injured and taken to hospital. Russian forces are hitting the city and neighboring areas with aerial bombs like this one.
There's definitely
When
Western
we
bias
were there,
from DW, but
Russians had entered the northern
much better
suburbs.
than CNN.
These dragon teeth are supposed to slow advancing tanks, and the Ukrainians are rushing more troops to the region to prevent a Russian breakthrough.
It's pretty dinky, but I guess the crappier
But it's
Russian
looking
tanks
so
will-
grim that
might
most
be
people
slowed
have
down.
left, and many of those who've remained so far are now following them. Police officers Vlad and Yuri are here to get some of them out.
It's a shame too. They got to leave the dogs behind.
Volodymyr lives with his dog Baron right next to the new front line, but doesn't want to leave. Vlad leans on a professional connection to persuade him.
Listen to me, I'm the commander of your daughter. I don't want her to sit there and cry over you. Okay, I'll go now.
Many don't want to believe this is happening again.
Caught that on camera.
Why didn't you evacuate earlier?
I had hoped that all would be good, that nobody would force me out.
Just as we're leaving,
Lie down. There are glide bombs coming.
Baron, I promise you, you come with me.
this second large-scale attack is devastating for people
Taking the
here,
dog, good.
Officer Vlad tells us.
They're all
be
in
holding that
despair
dog, man.
because everything they have gathered in their lives, bit by bit, and built, their houses, arranged their places for living, everything they had, they lost.
Look at how kitted up this
Their
police
most
officer
cherished
is.
desire now is for it all to end, and they want to return to those ruins that will remain and restore everything.
Ukrainian police, man.
The danger cannot be underestimated. This was a sniper round aimed at the head of their driver. Their luck, this vehicle, provided by the Americans, was armored.
Yeah.
Further south, and
A lot of good American lives had to be ended before we decided to actually armor up our, our trucks and whatnot in Iraq and Afghanistan. So hopefully that legacy is, crossed over here. I mean, I'll never forget the IEDs. They just needed to invest more money into their trucks to prevent these IEDs from being able to blow up the trucks. And they didn't. Soldiers were literally out of their own pocket armoring up their own trucks. They were spending their own money to armor up army trucks so that they would survive an IED blast.
relative safety, some of the last evacuees wait for transport to Kharkiv. Dasha is here with her family and their neighbors. They spent 6 days in the basement and then fled on foot.
We didn't think anything would happen. And when we realized that everything was flying from all sides, everything was being bombed, we all hoped that this is my house. We couldn't take out my shepherd dog. Unfortunately, I left him.
Tough. I'd be crying too. Yeah, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. Yeah. Shitty grin on his face.
Sorry.
He sent American people to die.
We are all alive. Thank God the whole family left.
Alive and with loved
Oh, it's
ones.
his daughter.
Volodymyr is also safe, reunited with his
He's like
daughter.
complaining.
But he and his dog Baron are not home here. And Volodymyr has lost faith they'll ever return.
Wow.
Well, for more now, I'm joined by Marina Marone. She's from the War Studies Department at King's College London, a familiar face to our viewers. It's good to see you, Marina. You know, we've just seen that report there from Vovchansk. Will Ukraine be able to hold this city?
Good evening, Brent. Well, the situation is very difficult for the Ukrainian forces, but what we have to understand is that Vovchansk is divided by Seversky Donets River, so it gives the Ukrainian forces a protective barrier. From my understanding,
The last analyst we saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before, talked about how it's a disadvantage and it kind of splits the front, but there's also ways for Ukraine to take advantage of it.
the town is now divided in two parts, and the Russians are controlling the northern part, and they will have to cross the river in order to be able to capture Vovchansk in its entirety, which I think is the idea behind this offensive. However, I don't foresee it to be happening very quickly, or at least not as quickly as we have seen the advances around Vovchansk.
Ukraine says that it has stabilized the situation across the front near Kharkiv.
It's not that expensive either.
Is that what you are seeing and hearing?
Well, from what it looks, it seems to be more stable than a couple of days ago, but that doesn't mean that the Russians have stopped or that their offensive operation in that direction has run out of steam yet. So we have to wait a couple of more days to see what is going to happen specifically, because I think that they will be also pushing along other directions.
What has happened since this report was put out there is that Putin has started walking back Kharkiv. Oh, we were just kidding. If we wanted to take it, we would, but we were just joshing. We were just playing. So he's already walking back his rhetoric on invading Kharkiv. He already knows the reality of the situation.
And possibly if and when that offensive runs out of steam, I think that the Russians might try to go for Sumy or even Chernihiv.
Sure.
Russia has not advanced that deeply, but it has seized some territory. I mean, is Ukraine going to be in any position to retake that anytime soon? And I just want to ask you about...
Blue Brother, quite frankly, America could benefit quite a bit from German culture and society, when it comes to information gathering, when it comes to journalistic standards. I would just say, to the German people who say that this is a waste of money, I would say it's actually an opportunity to teach the world how to be more German.
About the knock-on effects for Ukraine, Russia says that it has recaptured the town of Robotyne on the southern front.
Robotyne.
I mean, that's basically the territory that Ukraine captured during its offensive last year. So,
my favorite word.
Is the situation there? Is it clear? I mean, is it to be expected given how stretched Ukrainian forces are?
Well, that's the whole idea, I think, behind this Kharkiv offensive, is to stretch the Ukrainian forces and to stretch them even more. And in my previous reply, I said they might attack Sumy and Chernihiv in order to keep the Ukrainian forces stretched. And with the Ukrainian having issues with their manpower, having issues in terms of military equipment, even as the U.S. aid is arriving in Ukraine, it is going to be difficult. And I don't see any strategic purpose in trying to recapture the northern territories just yet, because I think it would be the wrong place for the Ukrainian forces to concentrate their efforts on. And to come back to Zaporizhia, essentially the Russian Ministry of Defense declared Robotyne as liberated from Ukrainian forces. From us end, it looks like the Ukrainian forces are still present in one part of the settlement. However, I think in the information spectrum, it is a psychological blow to the Ukrainian forces, because essentially taking Robotyne would negate all the effects of the counteroffensive, which didn't go according to the plan. So I think also from this perspective, the Ukrainian forces are finding themselves in a difficult position.
So if it's true to say that Russia is currently on the front foot in this war, how close is Ukraine to suffering a serious defeat?
Well, what would that defeat look like is a question, or how far is Russia going to go? And I think that this will depend on many factors, not least on the outside support to Ukraine. There have been suggestions, for instance, to use NATO's air defenses stationed in Poland and Romania to free up some air defenses inside Ukraine to basically help Ukraine in that way, because air defenses systems are scarce. Also, it depends on ammunitions, but most importantly, I think, is the human factor and the fact that Ukraine is trying to mobilize troops, but is failing to fill file and rank to send to the front lines. And the polarization that is taking place inside Ukrainian society and the problems in the military command and political problems also Zelensky is facing right now, they will all determine how and when and if Ukraine can be defeated on the battlefield. But that doesn't mean that Ukraine will lose politically just yet. So it remains to be seen, but I foresee that the combination of these factors will determine the fate of Ukraine until probably November 24, until the U.S. presidential elections.
Well, you know, Ukraine can always say that one reason that it may be vulnerable now is because the U.S. had a delay in delivering weapons, the delay that we've seen in the last few months.
Personally doing
but it can't blame anyone else when it's talking about not having enough soldiers, right? This new mobilization law that's been passed, this effort to get more soldiers into the military. I mean, do you think that should have been done a year ago? Are they doing this too late?
To learn English, Blue Brother?
Well, I think it's not fair to put the blame on the U.S., just because, as I said, there are so many factors at play here, and technology is not going to fill the manpower gap. Technology is also not going to boost the morale. Well, to a certain extent it might, but it's not going to make such a great effect. And if we look at the war in Afghanistan, the U.S. was technologically superior to the Taliban, just to make a point that technology is not everything in war. And the mobilization is always a very unpopular choice. And at the very beginning, there were a lot of volunteers to join the Ukrainian armed forces. Right now, the situation is looking bad. So I'm not sure if starting earlier to mobilize people would have helped the overall effort. And we also have to remember that Ukraine has special forces deployed to Sudan to counteract Russian activities there. So I'm wondering, maybe the Ukrainian command should start redeploying those forces, because they are very capable and they could be a great help right now in Ukraine. And of course, we have to understand that mobilizing people means they need to be trained, they need to be outfitted, they need to be paid. So this is affecting Ukrainian economy, because who is going to pay the taxes to finance all of this? So the economic situation of Ukraine is also an important factor in the capability to mobilize people.
Marina?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, excellent reporting there. And, you know, we have reported on, you know, Ukrainian troops in Sudan, and it's always been confusing to me. I think that's a great idea. I think that's really a great point. You know, she's always on point, quite frankly. Marina Miron, really cool journalist or commentator, I guess. She's, you know, military analyst, King's College London. think tank, probably. But anyway, she's always been pretty much on point, and I think that's a great point. Is that what are they doing in Sudan? Get out of there! Look, I feel bad for the Sudanese people, but if you're Zelensky over here, I don't know how much is that costing us, you know? And the Ukrainian military is stretched thin, and now it's stretched even thinner. I don't know. Tough decisions need to be made. For the archive, according to War Translated here, I think this is a link from Davey. Thank you, Davey. Oh, wait, I got to show Davey's link here. He was nice enough to put his own life at risk to find this here. According to Ukrainian media, Liga Zelensky said today that none of the brigades are complaining about the lack of artillery shells. This has been the case for the past 2 months. This is out of touch with reality and a result of positive reporting promotion in the top brass. Yikes. Yeah, that is not a good sign. That is definitely not a good sign. I mean, you know, it's just, you know, so this is like the Twitterati, former UI officer, founder of the Frontline. Yeah, okay. All right, so it's definitely someone with more than just a Twitter account, right? Definitely has a, you know, has some ability to say some stuff with some legitimacy here, but I hope that's not the case. I hope Zelensky is like, well, I know this isn't true, but we need to boost morale. We need to, you know, I need to kind of, you know, I need to help Joe Biden here a little bit, give him a little bit of, you know, because what, you know, this, because this could be like, hey, you know, congratulations, United States, you're helping out Ukraine, you know, feel good about it again, press for like a week. That's kind of a gift, maybe. So I hope that's the case, and I hope I certainly hope what's not the case is that he's believing the bullshit, like I was before Davey shot down my hopes and dreams. Thank you, Davey, for that. But yeah, I certainly hope that's not the case, that he's out of touch and that he's just, this is an intentional, like I said, propaganda style gift, I guess, for the West. Another link from Davey. Thank you again, Davey, in the Discord. Footage for the largest drone strike on Russia transport and energy infrastructure was subtitled commentary. First 3 are Novorossiysk, fourth to pass. Maybe U.S. should actually give enough ammunition for the statement to be true. Hey, maybe you're right, but maybe you should be thankful, okay? $60 billion is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but we're talking about the United States here. We spent, was it $2 trillion in Afghanistan, roughly, thereabouts? So basically, if Trump wins the election, Ukraine is doomed. Maybe. If, you know, because you can't, Trump is a wild card, the definition. He's a grenade. He could get in there. He could have a little tap on the shoulder from the military-industrial complex. They could convince him, hey, Mr. President, could be a big win, could show that you're stronger than Putin, could show that you're stronger than Russia. This is an opportunity. If you want to double down on this, you could show you're stronger than Putin, you're stronger than Russia, and you're smarter and more strategic and betterer, right, to use Trump's vernacular, at military. Right, look, you're so strong, you're so tough. All you just had to use was your Trump bravado, and you know, to go crazy, spend like insane, you know, like double down, $60 billion a week, kind of craziness. You know, he might see that as an opportunity to do that. We don't know. It's a surefire bet that Ukraine is going to receive steady help from Biden, but we have no idea what direction Trump is going to go in. I mean, you know. It's not that we have no idea. It's just that we have no idea if he'll be like, I need a W, I want to win. This is making me look bad. Putin rolling over Zelensky is making me look bad, right? Weapon terms, $60 billion is not a lot. Yes, yeah, that's, you know, but still, it's still a good chunk of change. All right, so let's start with the first one here. Yeah, and you can hear them one after the other. So this was a huge attack from Ukraine, attacking Russia. These are the glide bombs. And this is a Russian complaining, like, where's the air defense? Elam?
Просто мрак какой-то, вот он, козел.
It's horror, here's the scumbag.
И он следом еще один, 3 подряд.
3 in a row. Yeah, boy.
Вот они летят, они не переставая. Рой летит и все. За минувшие минут 15 уже штук 20 пролетело.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Это просто мрак
Thank you
какой-то.
for that correction. Yeah, these do sound like the lawnmowers.
Короче,
Hard to
можно
tell, though.
сказать,
I'm
не
not an
работает
expert.
от слова
But yeah,
совсем.
probably maybe a drone. Who knows?
Это с 2 часов ночи такая
That's been
херня.
happening since
С полтретьего
2:30
где-то
a.m.
началось. Короче, не кончается уже больше 8.
But yeah, where's the air defense, Russia?
Да, это пиздец. О, слышь? Да, это пиздец.
These are military targets,
О, слышь?
folks. He will adopt as long as he thinks it will bring the votes. Yeah, Blue Brother, he's
На эстакаду прилетело.
totally shameless.
На эстакаду прилетело.
Trump has no problem doing an entire presidential campaign saying, not one more penny to Ukraine, not one more penny to Ukraine. And then a week later, after getting into office, saying, we're going to fully support Ukraine, get over it, bitch. Like, he has no problem doing that if he thinks it will benefit him.
На эстакаду прилетело. Все, нет эстакады у нас,
We have no overpass anymore. Oh, no reservoir. Oh, no.
Дождались бы.
Oh, time has come. The time has come.
Да, наши резервуары горят.
It's NATO time, brother.
Да, ебать, тут все горит вокруг.
Okay, I need to get NATO time on my soundboard because it's so appropriate. It's NATO time, Jack. The time is now. It's NATO time. YouTube. Yeah, this is YouTube. Look how
It's NATO time, Jack.
Okay, you get the joke. All right, we got 2 more here. It's NATO time, Jack. Where's the air defense, Russia? That thing was in the air for like an hour. They're not fast. They take their sweet ass time getting there.
Вон он летит, сука, вон.
Yeah, they fly low, but still. Second best army in the world. Oh, does it suck when Ukraine strikes military targets? Oh, poor baby. One more time, I want to see. These are good.
Сейчас ебанет.
That looks like a fuel depot of some sort. Get to bed now. Hey, Blue Brother, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for your German perspective. I do appreciate it. Have a good night. Elam. Thank you for that follow. You ruined the footage. You ruined the good part. Great job, Elam. Great job. No, thank you for the follow. How dare you?
Вон он летит, сука, вон.
It's coming, bitch, coming. Not very big booms. Not very big booms, but if you send a lot of them, you get a lot of them going, you know, and you get some fires going. Boy, they love that FAG word, don't the Russians love that word? Is that just is that a European thing, using that word? I feel bad for gay people.
Вон летит, сука, ебаная, блядь.
Ooh, that's super low. Is someone controlling that? Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing. This is interesting. Is it correcting its direction? So here it's flying straight. Yeah, no, look, so it like did a dive bomb and okay, and then picks itself back up.
Вон летит, сука, ебаная.
Interesting. Maybe isn't it automated? Aren't they fire and forget? Right? Like you put in the coordinates and then it goes, right? They fly in a predefined path. Yeah. So that was maybe it was just correcting itself. It just had a little error, slip up in the calculations. Interesting stuff. Thank you, Davey, for that link. Okay. I mean, this is propaganda, guys. Okay, let's be clear. This is propaganda. Sorry. I should not be laughing at this. I really shouldn't, but it's that's just a funny picture. I'm sorry. Because look, Russia, stop with the stupidity, okay? This is an embarrassment. We're supposed to be afraid of you? The only thing preventing Ukraine from steamrolling you is our hesitation. Is this, stupid debate about escalation. Okay. That image is no longer funny to me. Yeah, a little morning beauty. Yeah, gotta be careful with that. Okay, so I think that we've basically already done this entire story, so we can skip this one. Did want to talk about this because this is relevant. They do literally post their Z's and Photoshop the Russian flag into various images, so it's kind of accurate. No, I know it is, because that's what nationalism looks like from any country, any society, any culture. It's so cringe. It's just so incredibly cringe. We're great because we're born here. It's just unbelievably stupid. Troop shortage sapping morale. Ukraine's President Zelensky says so. I mean, we've basically covered this. There's really nothing too new. There is some footage of some strikes, but no, we basically covered that. I did want to cover this though. War in Ukraine. Russia suffers massive overnight attacks. So that some of the clips that we were seeing was from this attack. I think the morning beauty quote is something Putin said about Ukraine. So now people are using it against him. Okay. I don't really follow Twitter anymore. It's cancerous for my brain. I get that. I just hate it. I hate it, man. I spend any time on Twitter, and it's 50% of my time is blocking OnlyFans porn stars who are who like they're robots or trying to get me to buy their pornography. Oh, it's not a Twitter thing. Okay, sorry.
A number of things have been going on in the last 24 hours in various parts of the Ukraine war. Up in the north, the Russians have continued with their push against the area opposite Kharkiv. And they've made some progress in two areas, one towards an area here, which they would like to get into artillery range of Kharkiv at Lipsy, and the other one at Vovchansk here, where if they could break out, they could move further south. But so far, the Ukrainians have actually held that push, mainly by redeploying forces from the south in order to combat that push in the north. So not much has changed there, but it is actually straining the Ukrainians a little bit. However, the Ukrainians have hit back in their own way, and overnight there were a whole series of attacks in different parts, mainly in Sevastopol, at the air base at Sevastopol itself, at Novorossiysk, which is one of the Russian naval bases in the Krasnodar region, and at several oil refineries in Krasnodar, which is having quite a big effect on the Russian petrochemical economy. So the Ukrainians themselves have been making an effort to hit back, and also in Belgorod. And while all that has been going on, President Putin has been in China with Xi Jinping. Of course, they make all the right statements about their unbridgeable arrangements and their permanent alliance, but in reality, what they're talking about is how far Xi Jinping is prepared to back the economic needs of President Putin as he continues with his war in Ukraine.
There you go. So, kind of a not over promising, but but giving us the update there
in their own way
that Russia has been stopped. They're not. It's not a blitzkrieg. They're not rolling over territory and gonna get to these locations at any moment. They have been halted. One question though is, are they going to be able to keep their gains? And because if they keep their gains in the north, then that's a further stretching of Ukraine's forces. So this was just a shocking footage, amazing footage, heart-stopping street fights and drone strikes as Ukrainian troops destroy Russian targets. This was put out 6 hours ago, so this is definitely not old news. Really, I didn't watch the whole thing, so I should probably get my my blur filter ready. But the few minutes that I did watch, I was like, oh my god, I have to show this. Well, what the crap? How come that's doing that? Oh, I know why. Sorry. I shut it off. Sorry about that. There we go. Wow, Russian volunteer corps units fight against Russian troops and engage in street fighting in Vovchansk. Wow, man, Russia v. Russian. It's you know, is this what Zelensky is doing with these Russian separatists when they're not harassing, crossing into Russian territory to take over a military base or a military location before scooting? Yeah, Chem Goblin. That's absurd. Okay, that's super loud. Very sorry about that. But no, if people are saying that about Zelensky, it really just shows how, little they're actually paying attention, because there's no leader of any country that is getting closer to the front line of any conflict right now than Zelensky. No one. Maybe barbecue. I'm sorry. I take that back. Maybe barbecue. Jesus! Oh fuck, dude! No, we can't just cut away from that. What the fuck, dude? So that was some kind of impact on the outside of the building, blowing all the wood panels. Ukrainians, before they left, they tried to get their places ready for war. Look at that, dude. So it's all dark in the room. Make Z look weak. Really, Ice King, really. That is loud. Cut that light in. Was that the Ukrainians doing that? By Z, you mean Zelensky? Yeah, because I wasn't sure if he was saying Z as in the Russia, pro-Russia people. They've been saying that shit from the beginning, Ice King. But yeah, any opportunity to double down, any weakness perceived, they're going to be doubling down and tripling down on right-wing demagogues. I don't understand why. It's the big reason is that Ukraine is a win for Joe Biden. It's a political win for Joe Biden. So it doesn't matter about Ukrainian lives. It doesn't matter about democratic principles. It's just this is electoral politics when it comes to those right-wing outlets that are disparaging Ukraine. Like, he looks tired. Yeah. I will say he did that. That could have been a little bit better. It did seem like he was in a hurry, and it did seem like he was lacking sleep. I'm not defending Fox News or any of their propaganda and their lies, but I will say that I think it was really great of him to do that, to make that appearance, but it did look like that he had a million other things on his mind, which is understandable. Yeah, but seeding doubt, creating that doubt, seeding this narrative. And once again, you know, it's the right wingers that are setting the narrative, and it's the neoliberals that are responding to it instead of the other way around. Because I mean, you would think after a $60 billion package, oh, here's one of those turtle tanks. But you would think after a $60 billion package, you would hear a lot of, you would at least be thinking that maybe the narrative would have been switched to, you see, we're doing what we can. This is a good thing. It's a victory. I don't know. It just seems like once again it's the left responding to right-wing narratives. All right. Yeah, it's just battlefield footage. Pretty shocking stuff, though. It's one thing to like watch this from a distance, but when you see the footage of what this carnage looks like right up close, especially when it's happening, like this drone footage it does kind of sanitize it in its own way. You don't hear the screams, you don't hear the explosions, you don't hear the fires crackle, you don't smell it. Oh, I better be careful here. Yeah, I might show some people getting smoked. Russians getting mad that we removed Russian language in McDonald's. Too bad, dude. Too bad. It's really not Russia-phobia to point out that Russia uses its culture to assimilate other countries and cultures. It's crazy. But I guess it's a classic tactic, but no one does it quite like Russia does it. I mean, to kidnap children from another country and force citizenship on them and then force them into a school that tells them that their country that they're from are Nazis, and pretty wild stuff. So here's the last bit of Ukraine stuff that I have today. Another update from reporting from Ukraine, another frontline update. Let's see what's going on. How very American of them, true.
Today there are a lot of updates from the Kharkiv direction.
All right, let's get it.
Here, Russians made tactical gains along the border and recently reached Liptsi and Vovchansk, the two main strongholds in the Kharkiv direction.
True.
Ukrainians are making incremental efforts to stabilize the front and put the Russian offensive to a halt. The situation was very unclear last time we discussed this direction, as the border settlements north of Liptsi and Vovchansk were in a gray zone. As the situation further developed, new information about the events in this direction became available. The first line of defensive fortifications stretches from Liptsi up to Vovchansk and Kupiansk. The line is located 5 to 10 kilometers from the international border,
so they haven't
and
even
the reason for
hit the
this is that
line.
any equipment and force concentrations would be detected and fired upon directly at the border.
Yeah.
Russians used to fire artillery and missiles at forces concentrations of pro-Ukrainian groups like RVC during their incursions at the border, demonstrating how unsafe the immediate border is for large troop groupings.
Yeah, you can't build a trench right on
For
a
this
border.
reason, borders were never heavily protected, so Ukrainians only deployed small infantry squads on the immediate border.
Yeah, and how many times have you heard the news that's covering this? That's oh, things are looking bad. How many times has Sagar and Crystal over there at Breaking Points pointed this out? With their big fucking disgusting, Ukraine on the verge of collapse headlines. Breaking Points, what a joke. The Hill too, trash.
The protection of Ukraine's immediate borders is assigned to the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, a branch subordinated to the army. The army was the first to respond to initial Russian attacks on Kharkiv. The task of the border guards was to meet the Russians at the border, report to the headquarters about the Russian offensive, estimate their strength, and then manage a fighting withdrawal to the first line of defense. Meanwhile, the leading Ukrainian forces manning the fortifications were to adjust themselves to meet the Russian offensive and allocate additional troops held in reserve in Kharkiv city to react to such developments. During the fighting in Liptsi direction, despite challenging conditions, small Ukrainian border guard units managed to hold their ground for 8 to 10 hours on the first day of the offensive without reinforcements or contact with other units.
What? 8 hours extended on the front lines with the full force of the Russian military blasting down on you, and these absolute badasses. 8 to 9 hours. No reinforcements. Did they even have artillery? Did they even have, I'm sure they had mortars, but did they have artillery? Damn, dude, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. As long as the Ukrainians are willing to fight like that, Russia, the battlefield reality for Russia will always be hundreds of Russian soldiers for every step forward.
Situation they were prepared for. As a result of continuous Russian assaults in this area, the villages of Strilecha, Krasne, Morokhovets, Borisievka, and Olenikove came under their control. However, by then, the border guard units continued their fighting withdrawal to the following positions, meant to slow the Russian advance to the first line of defense at Liptsi. Such fierce resistance did buy invaluable time for regular Ukrainian units to allocate troops along the villages of Zelene, Lukyantsy, and Khalibove. At the same time, the main force adjusted themselves at the first line of defense. These positions were prepared to slow down the Russians by taking Lukyantsy, Khalibove, and Zelene to give them more time to strengthen the first line of defense. Due to the lack of natural barriers or good geographic positions, Ukrainians continued the fighting withdrawal south of Lukyantsy. Meanwhile, in Khlibove, Ukrainian reinforcements in the form of the 42nd Mechanized Brigade made quite a difference due to their intense FPV drone strikes. Drone operators of the 42nd Mechanized Brigade managed to repel wave after wave of Russian armored assaults, causing a slower advance for the Russians. Ukrainian control of part of the village to the south of a small river enabled these highly efficient strikes, which Russians still struggle to cross over.
Starling got
this
shut up.
overall line of
that.
defense was the first of many fortifications in extensive multi-layer defense in depth deeper in the region that Ukrainians prepared.
Starlink shut
Such
down.
complex lines of defense will gradually slow the Russian advance.
I did see in the comments, though, of the headlines that people were mentioning that, well, one reason that might be true, it might not be Elon shutting off the Starlink. It might be, Russian technology getting better at blocking Starlink. So that's it's unconfirmed whether it was Elon intentionally shutting it off like he did that one time or several times actually, or if it was Russian jamming when it comes to that Starlink outage. So if you see any confirmation one way or the other, please let me know, Chem Goblin.
Until it comes to a halt. H-Libov, Lukyantsy, and Zelene positions are only meant as a short-term defense until more Ukrainian reinforcements arrive to reinforce and adjust at the first line of defense, some 3 kilometers south of the current front line. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian army deployed additional reinforcements from reserves in Kharkiv, including elements of the Elite Special Forces Unit Kraken and the 215th Territorial Defense Brigade. These units managed to additionally stabilize the front to the point where Russian assaults in the direction of Liptsi were being repelled.
Nice.
The latest combat footage from Ukrainian fighters in the area shows how a group of Russian troops holed up in a house got pinned down by an FPV drone to set the stage for further clearing operations by Ukrainians. A squad of 5 Ukrainian fighters subsequently cleared the house and took 3 Russians captive after a brief shootout. After capturing and disarming the 3 captives, Ukrainians provided help for a wounded Russian by applying a tourniquet on his leg to stop the bleeding. Russian forces likely ended up isolated in the northern duchies of Liptsi due to much stronger resistance than they anticipated, which led to unorganized dispersal in the area.
And just look at the kind of chaos that Russia brings, to these Ukrainians. With this nonsense, this is a Russian, liberation right here. This is what it looks like to be liberated by Russia. They cordon themselves in your house and blow the fuck out of it. And they fail. Reminds me of that tweet of someone being like, "Yo, imagine living in the Marvel universe and you see the Hulk pick up your car and throw it and at an enemy and miss." Right? So that's what this feels like. It's like, "Hey, great, can you stop liberating me, please? It'd be really great if you could chill with the liberation."
In the Vovchansk direction, the situation is just as intense and dynamic. Here, initial Russian assaults at villages very close to the border led to their quick fall, just like in Liptsi, because immediate positions at the border do not provide conditions.
Wait, you talk about? You mean owners of the home? You would blame Ukraine for that? Come on, not all of them. I'm sure there would be some, but no. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're talking about Russia would blame Ukraine. Well, it's the, you know, if Ukraine would just stop fighting back and accept its invasion,
setting up a
wouldn't
defense.
have to hurt nobody.
Small Ukrainian border guard squads weren't the main force of the Russian offensive. They pulled out a fighting retreat from the villages of Platonivka, Okhyvtseve and Khatyshe, with Russian assault squads securing positions in the area. On footage published by Russians in the town, we can see almost no damage to local infrastructure, which shows that there was not much fighting in the first place, and that Ukrainians pulled back to more favorable positions. The fighting moved to Vovchansk, where high-rise buildings, factories and house basements provided the most favorable defensive positions. Gained Russian positions in border villages mean nothing unless the town itself is taken.
Yeah.
The small high-rise building area provides powerful firing positions at the Russian forces on the city's outskirts and can slow them down significantly.
You Ukrainians are
Thanks
bananas.
to the obstacles provided by the urban environment, Ukrainian border guard squads managed to slow the Russian advance in northern parts of the town.
Not to overemphasize Russia's power or anything, because clearly it's a joke compared to the West and the totality of the West's power, but. There's not a lot of militaries that would be able to put the brakes on this, because we're talking about the full force of the Russian economy, full force of the Russian military. We're not talking about a scouting group, a single battalion, peacekeeping force. No, we're talking about a full military push, with the full force of the Russian country behind it, and putting the brakes on that. It really is quite an accomplishment that Ukraine and remember, this is not Ukraine at its full strength. The ammo, a good chunk of the ammo is there, but they don't have the manpower. They'd probably like to have more men that they're sending up there. So it really is something. It really is. You got to give these Ukrainians credit.
However, the central defensive positions are not in the city itself, but partly to the south of River Vovcha, where the first Ukrainian line of defense is located.
Yeah.
It is strongly reinforced by
so
natural
here's that
obstacles.
river. So here's that river that the marina there that analyst was talking about. Holy shit. Yeah. I see. So that's the part that they've taken. But Ukraine is all posted up in some of these tall buildings. Giving them hell, yeah.
Like the river, which
right
Russians
there.
struggled to cross for the past few days. From these positions, Ukrainians are deploying forces to the north of the town to further bog down the Russians in preparation for the fight on the first line of defense. So far, the slowing down operation against Russian forces has been very successful, as the Russians only reached the first line of defense in 2 areas near Vovchansk and Bugrovatka after a week of fighting.
Nice.
If you're against the invasion,
and folks, make sure you're helping out reporting from Ukraine. Buy a sweatshirt or a hat or something with a Ukrainian logo on it. Help out reporting from Ukraine. Absolutely wonderful reporting. Great job. Thank you, reporting from Ukraine. All right, so that's all my Ukraine stuff. Time is it 2 hours in? Okay, we got a little bit more time. Let's get to the Gaza stuff. Daddy, give me a break. All this news. Is that really how we do things? We just literally jump from all that intense Ukraine learning and then we just jump right into Gaza? Man, I don't give you guys a break. There is just no breather. There's no breather. Here, let's do a try not to laugh challenge. I'm going to ruin my algorithm just for you. Speaking of daddy, how's your son doing? He's doing well. He's doing well, he's any links for donations? No, not yet. Need some hot tub streams. Oh, that's a great idea, actually. That's a great idea. All you need to do if you want the hottest hot tub stream, you just head on over to the left. Here we go. QT Cinderella. Wait, is she baking? Oh, boo. No, here we go. Sylvini. Here we go. No, I'll be working on the. I told myself recently, Lenny, I was like, I gotta find time to do some stream improvement. So I'll be doing the Patreon stuff really soon. Oh my God, this sucks, dude. Do people have to watch commercials watching Twitch? What? This sucks. A 30-second commercial for Quest Trade? Is this really your demographic? Quest Trade? Oh, boo. Oh, she's just talking with the sweatshirt on. Boo. No wonder it only has 193 viewers. Where's that girl with she's got Tiggos. Where's the girl with the Tiggos? All right. Boo. She's not even sexualizing herself. Boo. Yeah, well, you don't get any ads on mine because I don't monetize my Twitch. Boo. Oh, I bet she's like talking about like stuff and crap. Wow, boo. What is a Tiggo? What's a Tiggo? Okay, here, I'll hold on.
Love's a wondrous thing, but there's more to it than the physical experience. Like, oh hell, I don't know, she had some tickle bitties, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Amen to that.
Amen. That's what a Tiggo is. It's a sexist term for fat tits. I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh, the left. Oh, you're better, huh? Oh, you're better. Look at you sexualize, objectify women. Ooh. All right. Gaza time. I don't want to, dude. Talking about Palestine, Gaza is so incredibly depressing because the solutions are there. And the people that could change things, that actually have the power to change it, they don't want to change it. They're not going to change it. And all of this, it's just lies. It's gaslighting and lies. Don't believe your lying little eyes. We're not ethnically cleansing. We're not taking the West Bank. We're not going to occupy Gaza. And the West isn't going to let it happen. Isn't it like that for everything? No, I mean, there's some hope. For me, look, I know it's incredibly, horrific what's happening to the Ukrainians, but it's a fight, and we're fighting back. And and Ukraine is showing its incredible strength, and it gives me some hope that the tyrants and authoritarians in the world, don't always win. And then with Gaza and Palestine, it's like the exact opposite. I say, vote me in office. Okay, sure, bud, I'll vote for you. But with Palestine, Gaza, it's the exact opposite, because instead of the powerful fighting against, I guess in this case with Ukraine, Russia, the powerful, it's the powerful destroying the powerless. Really, it is interesting how the Palestinians still do have some power, some leverage, but it's really depressing how that is, being crushed and destroyed. So this is from a friend of the stream, Woke Patriot. Thank you, Woke Patriot. Palestinian teacher Sabrine Masraoui, from the 1948 occupied territory, was suspended from teaching after she attended a Nakba Day march. So the Nakba, the catastrophe, is a remembrance of the time when Israel pushed way into Palestine and took 50%, 60%, I don't know, big chunk of Palestine, and the Arab nations attempted to fight back and got their ass kicked in a 9-day war, 6-day war, something like that. And it was called the Nakba. I'm really surprised that to not hear I guess we'll have to see with the Gaza Strip if they'll be calling it the Nakba 2 or the sequel, Nakba Strikes Back. And what other country are you encouraged to spy on your neighbor? Lots of them. Lots of countries are like that. Despite her suspension, her Israeli students organized a protest against her at school. In the video, they can be seen chanting again and again, "May your village burn." So she was suspended. She was punished. That wasn't enough for these children who have been taught to dehumanize Palestine. Here's what it looks like. May your village burn. May your village burn. Cool. Yeah, I mean, children are impressionable. They're very easy, to get them to do things like this. But it's, I was covering this yesterday, I believe. Just the indoctrination of Israeli children from right from the beginning to dehumanize and otherize Palestinians. Really horrible. This other clip showed up. I gotta say, so this is another. So what is this one here? Israeli. This person saying terrorists in training. I'm not comfortable with that. Chanting, "May your village burn down" at Palestinian residences in Jerusalem. The message starts early in childhood. Immediately. Jewish kids are indoctrinated in the education system to hate and fear rabid and inferior Palestinians. So this is pretty wild, and I gotta say, it's shocking what I'm seeing on video as being accepted behavior. Alright, that's really loud. Let me just crank that down a bit. So the rhetoric is something else, but there's children smoking cigarettes. What the fuck? What the fuck? There's adults here. There's adults. What in the fuck? I mean, that was really quite shocking right there. I don't get that. Why is that cool? That is not a good idea, dude. You don't want to smoke before your lungs have fucking fully developed. Not a great idea, dog. But we do have to talk about this. It's very unfortunate, but smoking's part of the culture. I guess so. Boy, it makes me uncomfortable looking at that, German Israeli among hostage bodies recovered in Gaza. So we just in case you weren't sure, just in case you're like, where's he stand? He's a leftist. I don't know. No, I totally condemn Hamas. I totally condemn October 7th. I have no problem saying that. I'm not tiptoeing around that, like I see some leftists do. It is actually possible to criticize and disagree with Israel's aggression, while also acknowledging that Hamas is 100% a legitimate terrorist organization, not one of those fake ones that, it's like, oh, we disagree with the United States or we disagree with the West. Oh, you're terrorist. Not like that at all. These people are theocratic nightmares that I wouldn't want to associate with a 10-foot pole. Very dangerous individuals. Does that make... Well, it's, Gaius. But, I mean, does that make the pain and suffering of the Palestinians any less relevant? In fact, it makes it more relevant. The pain and suffering that the Palestinians have been experiencing since the 40s. It makes it more relevant because, as I've said before, if this situation was happening in Idaho, we would see Hamas-like elements come out of American cities that are blockaded in the similar way that Gaza is blockaded. You do not get to treat human beings in the way that Israel treats Palestinians and not experience blowback. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it, justified resistance, whatever you want to try to recontextualize it as. But it does make it inevitable. You push human beings into a corner, You give them no hope, and elements like Hamas will inevitably spring out. We don't know, what that would look like. Are they theologic or whatever? It's inevitable. So, the effort to, as I showed that clip yesterday of, we saw the U.S. government representative being asked, do you acknowledge there were crimes committed before October 7th? And he goes, we've exhausted this topic. That says everything. Which is, we want history to start at October 7th. We want full-blown justification to continue to do what we have been doing since the 40s. We have no real intention, as I showed yesterday with that article from Politico, we have no real intention of stopping the arms shipments. It was simply a PR move because of the protest to counter the news of the protest, to slow down that momentum. So that was all pretext here to talk about this. They found 3 bodies, two very, very beautiful women that did not deserve to be murdered in that way, and also another man. It's unclear how they were killed. Apparently seemingly they were dead for quite a while, that their bodies were dumped there and left there for quite a while. But horrific stuff. The solution, if you're wondering, okay, well, what's the solution, smart guy? The solution is for the Palestinian Authority to be, to be appeased and negotiated with. Netanyahu needs to meet their terms. It's not that big. It's not like they're asking for the moon and the stars. But Netanyahu needs to meet the Palestinian Authority's terms, get them in the Gaza Strip, install them as the de facto government, and start rebuilding. And start giving hope to the Palestinians. It's hope and a happy and growing middle class that will destroy Hamas ultimately. It is no amount of cluster munitions, no amount of bombs and guns and bullets will be able to destroy Hamas if the nihilism continues. Well, Gaius, that's where the United States comes in, and that's where it's so depressing, because it's the only entity on planet Earth that could get Bibi Netanyahu to do anything against his will is the United States. And Joe Biden is a proud Zionist. So here we go. This is, here we go.
Israel's military says that it has found the bodies of 3 Israeli hostages in Gaza. Among them are German-Israeli Shani Luke, who was presumed to be dead after images of her twisted body in the back of a pickup truck were seen during the October 7th terrorist attack.
Despicable behavior.
A military spokesman said that the 3 were killed by Hamas at the Nova Music Festival, and then that their bodies were taken into Gaza. Here is more from the Israeli spokesman.
They were celebrating life in the Nova Music Festival, and they were murdered by Hamas. Their bodies were transferred to medical professionals for forensic examination and identification. After the procedure was completed, we notified their families. Our hearts go out to them.
All right, I want to go now to our special correspondent, Aya Ibrahim. She is in Jerusalem,
if Trump's in power,
covering this story for
Democracy.
us. Good to see you, Aya. What more do we know at this point about these 3 hostages?
So we know that their remains were recovered in an overnight operation. That's according to the Israeli military spokesperson, Daniel Hagari, who we've also just heard from. Shani Luke, as you mentioned, a dual Israeli-German national. She had been presumed dead for a while now, as the Israeli military had previously found a part of her skull that was identified. But the other 2, a young woman in her late 20s and a man in his early 50s, there hadn't really been any signs of life from them since they were taken on October 7th. So, of course, there was some hope that they might be exchanged in a deal with Hamas, that they might might be released or might be found. It's a devastating news for the families of the hostages, of course, but really for the entire country. This news coming this Shabbat afternoon as life here in Israel winds down for the day of rest. We've also heard from the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm just going to read to you the statement that they just put out. He said, "This terrible loss is heartbreaking, and that him and his wife, Sarah..."
I mean, Gaius, I don't like it either. There's two options. I mean, really you have three, honestly. Because if you can strategically vote. If you live in a swing state, you don't have much choice. It's a choice between corporate neoliberalism and fascism if you live in a swing state. If you live in a safe state like California, then vote your conscience, because Biden's going to have those electoral college votes regardless of what you do. He's got it locked down. The partisans are going to lock it down. So if you live in a blue state, feel free to vote your conscience, right? As we saw with Jill Stein, not even being able to affect Hillary's chances. Had every Jill Stein voter voted for Hillary Clinton, she still would have lost. So, if you live in a blue state, vote your conscience. If you live in a swing state, you should vote strategically. And that, unfortunately, means voting for corporate neoliberalism. Sucks, I know. Welcome to the fucking real life. Sucks. Yeah, Gaius, yeah. Thank you for that follow, Tail Gunner.
Are grieving. He also said that we will return all of our hostages, the living and the deceased alike. This is likely to cause more anger tomorrow in the weekly protests that have been taking place, calling on the Israeli government to reach a deal to return the hostages alive to their loved ones. And with this news, this is likely to cause a lot of anger tomorrow here in Israel.
Yeah, definitely the news that people in Israel did not want to hear this Friday.
Yeah, wow. Israelis might be mad. It's incredibly tragic about what happened to those people. And like I said, it's a great way to trip up partisans like Piers Morgan, who are like, yeah, but Hamas. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Just say yes. Just say yes, and then explain your position. Israel's Rafah offensive puts relationship with Egypt at worst since the 70s. I think I was going to play this video and then didn't because I ran out of time. No, I played the beginning and then I interrupted this woman. So yeah, we just talked about this, how Israel has kind of broken a treaty that was made during the Camp David Accords, and Egypt has started, hinting that they will downgrade international relations with Israel, which seems like petty, seems stupid. It's like, oh well, we're not friends anymore. But in the realm of geopolitics, it actually does have far-reaching consequences. So obviously, I'm not going to repeat this one more time. But if you want this link, you can watch the whole video here. Thanks for your opinion. I think I'm closer to your age. Yeah. And more Sadat's turning in his grave. Indeed.
This is Democracy Now!
Part of the Camp David Accords, I believe, right? Wanted to show this here. I don't have time to show the whole 15 minutes of this brilliant interview, but I do recommend if you do want to watch the whole thing. Yeah. If you do want to watch the whole thing, there's the link right there. But this is a great interview with a Israeli-born novelist and Jewish rabbi, who has been arrested in Israel or in Palestine, trying to deliver food to the Gaza Strip. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's Jewish and then there's super Jewish when you're the rabbi, right? You go like Super Saiyan, right? But it's like super Jewish. So I don't think you could get a more Jewish person than a rabbi. It's important to point this out because bad actors and anti-Semites, ironically, would like you to think that Israel and the Zionists that run Israel speak for all Judaism. That is, of course, an anti-Semitic trope. Stuff like this helps color that in a little bit. If you're, a Yankee like me. Like, what? I thought if you're Jewish, you're Israel. I thought those two things were one and the same. No. There are apparently millions of Jewish people who disagree with Zionism. And they disagree with Israel's ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. So interviews like this are very important at giving us that perspective, because you're not going to hear Morning Joe talk about it because, I don't know, Mika. I don't know, Mika. I'm too scared. I'm too scared, Mika. I don't want to tell the truth on Morning Joe. Oh, I don't know. Whoa. It's just easier to just toe the line. Can't we just conflate Israel and Judaism and just move on with our day, please? Please, Mika. That's Joe Scarborough begging his wife to not tell the truth on his show. If you weren't catching my drift there. June students back in the uni days, and my buddies were very definitely not Zionists. We all stood together against the Zionist student group. Yeah, I've been showing lots and lots of clips of Jewish groups protesting against Israel. In Free Palestine protests. Representing the Jewish religion according to its teachings. Right? There's it's crazy, right? Because they're like, oh, it's all justified. The book. It justifies everything. The Torah justifies everything. Torah doesn't give you justification to ethnically cleanse Palestine. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. You keep reading it over and over and over again. Keep picking it apart, okay? The Torah does not say you can ethnically cleanse Palestine. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Morning Joe sensationalizes the small stuff and glosses over the serious topics big time. 100% nailed it. Exactly it. And the mainstream eats it up. The ratings. He's the highest rating show on MSNBC, which I guess isn't saying much. Because I don't think Morning Joe has ever touched Tucker Carlson's ratings.
Now, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israeli police arrested 7 rabbis and Israeli activists Friday at the Gaza border during an action that accused Israel of using starvation as a weapon of war against Palestinians. The delegation of rabbis for ceasefire carried bags of food to the Erez crossing between Israel and northern Gaza amidst reports that famine's imminent for more than 1 million Palestinians in Gaza.
She's doing a die-in.
Among
she's pretending
those
she's
who
dead.
were joining the protests was Rabbi Abi Dabush, who is a survivor of the October 7th Hamas attack on Kibbutz Nirim.
I'm really proud of it. Being here in the name of Jewish values, being here in the name of Jewish discourse and the Torah, and talking about human rights for all people here. Of course, I can't forget the Israelis. I was in Kibbutz Nirim on October 7th, and can't forget the hostages. But then again, I can't forget also our people, human beings in Gaza that are starving, got killed by thousands, and have devastating ruins.
Hey, and big props to this guy, right? Because it's one thing for me to be running my mouth, okay? Running my mouth in the Tim Hortons. People are like, yeah, free Palestine, whatever, bro. It's another thing to be saying Palestinians are human beings in Israel, right? I'm a Jewish person. I'm standing up against human rights. I think the Palestinian people are being mistreated. This guy probably, he's probably losing family members and friends, and he's probably become a total pariah. It's probably harder for him to be employed if he is employed. Like, it takes a lot of courage to stand up for human rights, in the belly of the beast there, so to speak. Bibi's nephew speaking against, really? Oh, that's interesting. Bibi's nephew is against Israel Zionism because his little brother. Fighter pilots. He was one of the fighter pilots that were being protested. We covered that as well. The fighter pilots who refused to fly over the occupied territories. There were a huge standoff at the beginning of the speech because Ziggy and his squad of Zionists were taking pictures of everything going in. And get this, saying that the Israeli citizen who was going to speak wasn't qualified to speak because he was a mathematician. Mathematicians are nerds. They don't know politics. Wow. Interesting.
And have devastating
Dickie, that was his name?
For more, we're joined by Rabbi
name.
Alyssa Wise. She's now in Philadelphia after her release and return to the United States. Founder and organizer with Rabbis for Ceasefire.
Okay, so we'll definitely listen to a couple minutes of this, and then we'll have to move on. I'm sorry we don't have time for the full 15 minutes, but we'll definitely let her get her say in for sure.
Former co-executive director of Jewish Voice for Peace, where she was also the founding co-chair of JVP's Rabbinical Council. She's now back in Philadelphia. And joining us from Tel Aviv is Ayelet Waldman, the Israeli-American novelist and writer who was arrested alongside Rabbi Wise and 6 others. Her husband, Michael Shaban, is also the noted novelist, the Pulitzer Prize winner, who expressed deep concern.
Yeah. I mean, she's a real one until she's talking about Russia, Ukraine, and then she's a complete failure. I love Amy Goodman. I have the utmost respect for her. I've been watching her my whole adult life, basically, but dropped the ball when it came to Russia-Ukraine discourse, gotta say. Yeah.
About Ayelet's status on Instagram, writing,
still
she
great
was there in
journalism.
the company of a group of American rabbis for Ceasefire, to show the world, the people of Gaza, and their fellow Jews in Israel and around the world, that Judaism teaches justice, loving kindness, peace, mercy, liberation.
She left out the most important part, and ethnically cleansing Palestine. She forgot that one part that was in there. Come on. Yeah, justice, love, kindness, peace, mercy, liberation, and also ethnically cleansing Palestine. It's fully justified, guys. Didn't you know the Jews were there first? The Palestinians were really just keeping everyone's seat warm. Come on, guys.
Shaban wrote. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Why don't we start with Ayelet Waldman?
Just to give you an example, Gaius, she's still quoting Scott Ritter. She's still pulling Scott Ritter quotes. It was one thing to do that with the pedophile allegations. Scott Ritter, once he was, brought on a Russian stage to do Russian propaganda in front of Russians, you think you would maybe take him off the list there, but no. Amy Goodman still quoting Scott Ritter like he's some kind of information source.
Noted Israeli-American author, novelist, in Tel Aviv right now. Ayelet, why did you go to the Eretz Crossing? Explain what it is and what happened.
The Eretz Crossing is the crossing before the latest calamity, where you could cross in and out of Gaza, of course, very restricted. Now it is something else entirely. I want to be very clear, we approached the Eretz Crossing as close as we could get, but obviously it's blocked off. Why I went? I think it is incredibly important that those of us who have privilege use that privilege to call attention to this ongoing catastrophe. So I want to be very clear. My husband was worried about me. It's sweet. I had an uncomfortable 9.5 hours. I had a mildly unpleasant 9.5 hours. When a Palestinian here is arrested and goes into one of the many military prisons, their experience is horrible. They can be held without charges. There are children who are held without charges. When an Israeli Jewish activist, they have been arrested over and over again. They put their bodies on the line. They put their reputations on the line in terms of their community. What we experienced was very minor.
Lovely
but I
message.
think I can only speak for myself to say that it felt critical to me to use
handcuff.
whatever small platform I have to draw.
There was even reportings of the boundings being so long and so tight that one guy had to get his hands amputated.
Attention to this crisis, and to say that as a human being, and as a human being born in this country, I have to use my voice to say that this kind of horrific violence, this starving of children, this mass bombing is completely unacceptable. It is not just unjust, it's horrific. And I don't deny that what happened on October 7th was an atrocity. It broke my heart. I don't deny that what's
it's
being
not that hard,
experienced by the Israeli hostages now in Gaza is horrible, truly horrible. And my heart breaks for the families of the hostages.
Yeah, Chem Goblin. Yeah.
But we are seeing right now the mass starvation of an entire people. We are seeing an area where millions lived being reduced to dust. And people of good conscience simply cannot stand by and ignore or, cluck our teeth and say, it's really a shame, but Hamas, they're so terrible. Yeah, they're terrible. But it doesn't matter. And right now, what matters is stopping the starvation and the murder of millions of people in Gaza.
I get what she's saying, but no, this is where lefties can get tripped up by the bad actor right wingers because it doesn't matter. Oh no, it does matter. It does matter. Really, but when we need to be pointing out the connection between Hamas and Bibi Netanyahu, it's so hard to do all of this, But the right wingers will pounce on any opportunity, for thinking that you're trying to paint you as pro Hamas in any kind of way. Yeah, Davey, isn't she great? Thank you for continuing to watch, Davey.
Of millions of people in Gaza.
I want to bring Rabbi Alyssa Wise into this conversation.
Right, so let's get the rabbi's
just
POV,
left the Erez border crossing, and you're now in Philadelphia. You're founder of Rabbis for Ceasefire. Talk about why you went there. Israel has said they were opening that border to get aid in.
Yeah. So we came during the holiday of Passover, which is actually ending today and tomorrow. Passover is known as Zman Cherutenu, the season of our freedom. And if that is going to mean anything, it must mean that we work for the freedom of all people. It doesn't work that one people is free and another is captive. And Israel has, as your other guests have highlighted, is enacting a siege on the people of Gaza, where now people are on the verge of death through a policy of forced starvation that is in the wake of decades of an Israeli policy of forced displacement, occupation, apartheid, and Nakba, catastrophe that began in 1948. So for us as rabbis, when we came to think about what are we going to do this Pesach and this Passover, when we know that so many Jews are struggling with what does it mean to sit around a table and celebrate freedom when in our names a forced starvation and a mass murder is taking place. And it felt critical to us that we do literally whatever we possibly could to support the people of Gaza. So we came to the Erez crossing, and as we marched towards it, we chanted the words that begin the Magid section of the Passover Seder, which is the time in the Passover Seder where we tell the story of our people's liberation. And it begins with Kol dichvin yitei ve'yichol. Let all who are hungry come and eat. And what does our tradition mean
except for Palestine?
Not our ability and our...
They keep leaving that part out. I'm somewhere in the Torah, I'm sure it says it's okay to do this. Come on.
Our mandate to speak out against Israel, a state that is speaking in our name. And I think it's doubly important because it kind of betrays the lie that Israel is a Jewish state. Israel is a state that is acting in its own interest, that has actually nothing to do with Jewish tradition. Or
she's a self-hating Jew, yada, 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 fill in the blank, anti-Semite, call it a day.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Good to go, man. She's locked up. Shut her down.
Jewish values. Jewish values teach that all...
She can't speak for Jewish values. All she is a rabbi.
All people are made b'tselem Elohim, in the image of the divine. And this is not how you treat the divine.
Oh, come on.
Can you explain?
Well, great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Absolutely lovely. Make sure you check out the rest of this interview right here. Lovely women. Lovely message. Totally support their cause. Wish I had more time to show the whole interview. Her hairstyle is outrageous in a good way, like Jem. Like Jem is outrageous. Her hair is also outrageous. Lee Cool. I'm going to keep this train moving, though. Canada sanctions extremist Israeli settlers, so, you know, drop in the bucket, you know, fine, whatever, you know, like, you know, the West doesn't care. The West, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The only problem the West has with the ethnic cleansing of, you know, of the Palestinians is the speed. Where was Canada 20 years ago? You know, where, you know, the settlers have been taking chunks of the West Bank for decades, and the West has done nothing. Now, a couple token sanctions against some of the most extreme settlers. Oh no, they're not going to come to Canada. So, kind of tired of it. Kind of tired of the performance that Canada, United States, UK. Oh, we care so much about the Palestinians. Kind of a joke. We're watching people pissed off about illegal settlers stealing land. People, 20 fucking years ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, talking about burning the olive groves and all that. Oh, terrible, 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 terrible. Okay, well, we did nothing. We continue to do nothing. And when the moment comes when we really should be standing up, when the ramifications of standing up have actually never been better, right? Like, it used to be standing up for Palestinians. You were, you know, like, goodbye career, goodbye everything. You know, you were treated as a pariah. Now it's never been a better time to stand up for human rights and Palestinians, and they still don't have the balls to do it. Best they can do is sanction against a, you know, I'm exaggerating a little bit because we have seen Canada say, okay, no more weapons, ceasefire now, call for a ceasefire, and reluctantly, finally, the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, coming to that as well. So it's not like totally nothing, but it might as well be nothing. Genocide in Gaza analysis of international law and its application to Israel's military action since October 7th. So this is a really good article that I should read, actually, and then mark up and then get back to you. This was, I believe, from Woke Patriot. Good stuff. I'll be getting back to that one. So we covered this, I believe, yesterday. Gallant, I call on Netanyahu to declare Israel won't establish civilian control over Gaza. So it's very interesting to see. This is the Minister of Defense, right? Yeah, Defense Minister Gallant here. So he's pressuring. This is very clear what this is. He's pressuring Bibi to make a decision. If we're taking Gaza, take Gaza. If we're not going to take Gaza, then we're not going to take Gaza. I don't want to take Gaza, but I'm just the defense minister. But what he's doing, he's forcing Bibi to make a decision, because Bibi doesn't want to make a decision because it's bad for his politics. But Gallant is saying, yeah, well, our countries, the stability of our country and the relationship between other, you know, the America and whatnot is more important than your politics. So, I don't know. How does this work? Is Bibi able to just say, you know, you're no longer Minister of Defense? I assume he's part of the cabinet. I don't know. You know, will we see him, you know, pushed aside? Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to choose who will replace Hamas to rule Gaza, even if it costs him politically. And of course, we saw Bibi Netanyahu say, I'm not going to let Gaza turn into Hamas-stan or Fatah-stan. Pretty fucking racist way to say he's taking the Palestinian Authority off the table. But, you know, doesn't really introduce any alternative. Okay, Palestinian Authority is off the table. Who's going to do it? Alan Dershowitz? Who's going to come in and be the leader of a technocratic government that the Gazan people will listen to? Because it's not like the Gazan people are fans of the Palestinian Authority, but, you know, they'll deal with them over Hamas. Be warned, there's a dangerous trend supporting Israel rule over Gaza. Be warned. Don't I have a video? No, that's what I did. I showed the video yesterday, but I didn't read the article. He added that America continues to stay with us now and that we finish disagreements behind closed doors, not through public interviews. In addition, he said the IDF is acting in Rafah to finish off Hamas's battalions, find the hostages and kill Hamas leadership. But as long as Hamas tries to make a comeback, he warned that the IDF may need to come back as it is currently doing in Jabalia. And that's what we're seeing. Hamas is apparently resurgent in northern Gaza, multiple locations, you know, sneak attacks. That's how it works. They don't care. Hamas is happy to you know, scrabble around the rubble of Gaza City, taking pot shots at the IDF. To end the need to come back, he said the IDF must also kill the leaders of Hamas. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. You gonna fire a missile into Saudi Arabia? You know, and here it all comes, all the predictions, all the cynical predictions about Israel has no chance of defeating Hamas, that this is going to end up, you know, with egg on their face. They're making promises that they certainly can't keep. Like I said from the very beginning, what's their grand plan to kill Hamas that, you know, America wasn't able to enact when trying to destroy the Taliban? You know, even through sheer unbelievable brutality, they have not been able to get rid of Hamas. You know, could you imagine if America, you know, literally engulfed the entirety of Afghanistan, you know, from border to border, and you know, bombed 90% of the residential buildings, or what it was, 70% of the total of Gaza Strip residential buildings bombed, and then we're still getting pot shotted at by the Taliban. We're still getting, you know, we're still fighting them. They're still, you know, right on our ass as we're leaving. Pretty embarrassing. Well, that's what Israel did with the Gaza Strip. Completely occupied the whole thing. Inch by inch, man. Every goddamn inch of the place. Bulldozing graveyards. I mean, really going in there with a fine-tooth comb. Full control over the entire region. Can't kill Hamas. You know, you can't kill Hamas because you can't kill the color blue. You can't kill an idea. You can't kill a feeling. You can't kill the need for revenge with a gun. The grievances run too deep. And like I said, if there was a strip in Ohio getting treated in the same way that the Gaza Strip was being treated, the Ohioans in the Gaza Strip in Ohio would be acting like Hamas. Some would, of course. Can't kill the color blue. We'll see about that, buddy. Challenge accepted. So another great article here. This one, I think, from Woke Patriot, who's a big reader of the New York Times. So I'm going to hold on to these two so I can read them more carefully, pick out some good choice bits. Israeli troops continue posting abuse footage despite pledge to act. So, you know, just following up on what I've shown several times on the stream. IDF soldiers, Israelis in general, but IDF happy to show them documenting, you know, torture, war crimes, unbelievable, disrespect for Palestinian culture and society. But I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I've shown you several examples of how Israeli children are being taught, and what do we expect those people to turn into when they turn into adults? Israel has secured the southern crossings. This totally cuts off all new military supplies from Hamas. Eventually, Hamas run out of resources. Really, Davey? Really? You want to put some money on that, buddy? It's just the defeat for Hamas is right around the corner. I bet you if we hadn't have pulled out of Afghanistan, we would have been able to secure our defeat against the Taliban if we had just a little bit more time and just a little bit more resources. In fact, the Viet Cong were on their last legs. The Viet Cong were just about cut off. Had the pussy Americans not pulled out of Vietnam, we could have had that sucker tied right up. No, Davey, that is a good point, though. Very small strip of land, which is what makes it even more shocking that they haven't, that Hamas is resurgent in these areas, that it is such a small contained spot of land. But, forgive me if I'm skeptical with they just need a little bit more time and then this is all sealed up. because it smells like bullshit. Maybe it's chocolate pudding, but right now smells like bullshit. But back to this article here, you know, they just continue to die. This is the most well-documented ethnic cleansing, war crime. You know, even the Russians in Bucha didn't document their crimes so extensively. If you'd like to read this, it's right here. But you know, I've shown plenty of evidence, and it continues to roll in. The reason why it's so widespread is because they're, from a very young age, they're taught to dehumanize Palestinians, and it's not weird to them. It's not weird, you know, to be like putting a Jewish star on a Palestinian home, you know. But it's a logical conclusion. No, it isn't, Davey. Your conclusions about Hamas haven't been logical from the very beginning. You're using a set of logic and tools that are not actually connected to reality, bro. You got the IDF plugged right into your fucking brain. I would have loved to have talked to a Davey during the Bush administration telling me how, oh yeah, we're going to get it. Are you kidding me? The Taliban can't do shit. There's a bunch of sandal wearing, you know, I was going to say a slur from Generation Kill, but you know what I mean? Logical conclusion. No, it isn't. I will acknowledge that, Davey. I will acknowledge that. The Gazans, you know, Hamas doesn't have the mountains in Afghanistan, which is a huge strategic advantage. So I will acknowledge that. But you know what, Davey? You know, when the battalions are dead, you know, when the Rafah thing is done and Hamas victory is finally declared and Hamas continues to exist and continues to strike, you're going to need to be the first one eating crow, buddy. You're going to need to be the first one mea culping. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need to be the first one saying, I was wrong. Hamas is still here. IDF was lying to me. And I believed those lies, and I spread those lies. So even though you're not putting money down, you're putting your reputation down, Davey. So I hope you know what you're talking about, because no, this isn't logical. Once the battalions are done, or whenever, once the border, the supplies are cut off, once they're cut off from Hezbollah, oh, then Hamas is on the ropes. Then it's all over for them. That was your stance. As you stand today, that's your stance. And you couldn't be more wrong, dude. With that said, I do hope you're right. I don't want to say, I would love to see Hamas completely erased. As an organization, gone. Kaputsko. Right? Because that would make the Palestinian Authority's job much easier. Right? To come in and be that de facto government. I don't believe everything, but I do believe that Hamas will run out of ammunition eventually. They're not. Davey. Okay, you have a good memory. You're a smart guy. I'm not going to let you weasel out of what you're saying, the stances that you're taking. You know that. Davey, how hard is it to get ammo across these borders? Come on. Oh yeah, they're screwed. Oh yeah. Okay. Your faith in the competence of the IDF is unbelievable. Like you think the IDF is truly like superhuman or something. They would have to put. First of all, we have the tunnels. So there's one logical explanation. So first of all, we have the tunnels. Second of all, Israel would have to put a soldier on a fence and a soldier on every inch of border territory to prevent that from happening. Okay. All right. No, I mean, look, the only thing that will prove Davey wrong or correct is time right now, because the Rafah operation, the micro Rafah operation, not a big one, it's just a bunch of small ones. Technically, BB over here with the fucking technicallys. Technically, it wasn't a large operation. So whatever. When Gallant finishes his little gallant through Rafah, Bibi, what is Bibi going to do? Is he going to say, okay, we've completed our Rafah operation. We've destroyed the battalions that we said were there, which aren't there. The 4 battalions that are there. They've apparently been gone since the beginning of this, by the way. The Hamas members that are in Rafah. But okay, he defeats his 4 battalions. Then what? Oh, well, we still haven't defeated Hamas. We still either way, it's bad for Bibi. He either declares victory against Hamas, which is like, hey, see, I did what I did, but then the process of arresting Bibi begins because the war against Hamas is over and we won. Or he feigns incompetence, he feigns failure, he feigns weakness. Oh, Hamas was able to, slip through our fingers in Rafah, and there's still an organization to be feared and worried about. Is the organization incredibly strong, or is the organization incredibly weak, Bibi? So this, so Davey, the whole damn apple cart is coming to a head for you in terms of your belief that you can destroy terrorism at the barrel of a gun. So I guess time will tell. This is a great article unmasking the counter-protesters who attacked UCLA's pro-Palestine encampment. So this is a great article once again from Woke Patriot. I'm gonna since I got these other 2 articles I need to read first, we'll go ahead and just bunch those up with those. This was something from my Discord that I guess is timed out. A little bit of current news. I should have covered this earlier, but the Gaza Strip Pier project is completed. U.S. military says I think the aid shipment has actually already been received already in a small geographical area like Gaza. Well, that's your whole argument hinges on that fantasy, Davey. Your whole argument hinges on that fantasy, and so far you're dead wrong. But Gaza Strip is pretty small, especially when the area is void of resources. Okay, all right, okay, alrighty. Hey, I'm no fan of Hamas. Okay, like if I was running the show, I obviously wouldn't be targeting civilians in the way that IDF have, but I would be targeting supply lines. I would be targeting logistics because that's how you keep a force fighting. So I hope I don't think you are. I'm pretty confident you're dead wrong, Davey, but I hope you're right, if that's any consolation. So the Gaza, just, if you want to read this, you can. But long story short, the Gaza Strip Pier project has been completed, even though Hamas attacked it because they're idiots, because they're fucking morons. So, Hamas, apparently someone, they claimed as Hamas. You don't know who it was. Could have literally been anybody. Could have literally been some drunk Palestinian who's like fucking firing an AK for 5 seconds and runs away because he's, his wife divorced him or something. Who knows? Wait, that probably doesn't happen in the Muslim society. All right, I forgot. In incredibly theocratic Muslim societies that women don't have rights and they're not allowed to divorce their husbands. I'm sorry, I forgot. But anyway, this project is complete, and like I said, it's already received some aid. So it's the reason this exists is because Joe Biden wants to be president. That's why this exists. This does not exist. This pier does not exist because Americans care about Palestinians. This is because Joe Biden wants to be president. This is to prevent a famine until it's until it's less convenient or more convenient for Joe Biden to deal with. I'd be targeting the mafia in the regions, Hamas, Hezbollah. Sure. I'm sure the IDF is all over that shit with their little AI programs, right? Trying to dig into people's bank accounts and find who they are so they can bomb them and their entire family. But no, I mean, like I said, if I was in charge, I would be going after logistics, supply lines. Gaza war, Israeli tank fire kills 5 soldiers in northern Gaza. Once again, I should have had this at the beginning, but this is some breaking news, some latest news. Unfortunately, we 2 days ago breaking news. Sorry, not breaking news, but this is this came out of Israel just very recently. But yeah, very tragic stuff. It's very confusing. You know, a lot of these IDF soldiers are very, very young. Fighting in urban environments is one of the most difficult tasks for a military. You can literally be attacked from anywhere. The fog of war is real. So, you know, and we've also seen the IDF, they're pretty trigger happy. We've seen them blow away their own hostages, for God's sakes. Like, what the hell is a shirtless guy, throwing his shirt in the air going to do to you? What do you think? He's David from David and Goliath? You think he's getting a sling? He's going to throw a grenade at you? But Gaius, that's what I was trying to get at, is that there has been I have at least reported on evidence that the IDF is somewhat undisciplined, as we've seen, they can't even keep a cap on IDF soldiers filming their own atrocities that make the IDF look bad. So there's definitely, I think, a discipline issue there. Very tragic stuff reporting from the BBC. Okay. I said I was going to close more tabs, and then I'm exhausted, and I need to cover more news, but I have other shit I got to do. So, sorry. End of the stream. Sorry. There's a Canucks game on today. Okay, there's a Canucks game. Come on, guys. Let me live my life. We'll be getting to more news later. Don't worry. But no, this is it. Canucks hockey. Hockey does not suck, dude. Hockey actually does not suck. It's actually really awesome. Okay, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to become Canadian. Come on now. Hey, I just got here. No, hockey is actually sweet as fuck. It's better than football. No, it's totally better than football. I don't even want to hear it. No, I don't want to hear it. It's better than football. It's dynamic, it's fast, it's brutal. And let me tell you, man, it's the most masculine sport out there. No other sport can you say, fuck you, and throw down. And you get to. There's definitely a lot of rules. They're clamping down on it like a bunch of pussies. But it is a manly-ass game. Oh, it's fun. Yeah, Gaius, I know. Isn't it interesting? Yeah, the Vancouver Canucks. It's a hockey team. I'm never wrong. Okay, buddy. Okay. You have been documented. It has been. It can be hard to get Davey. It can be hard to catch him out, but Davey has been proven wrong. Absolutely, I've been proven wrong, but Davey has absolutely been proven wrong. Cohen doesn't mess this one up, you think? I don't know, Trailhead. I mean, the evidence is there. It's really just, was Trump successful in his juror shopping, right? Because the evidence is there. He's guilty of sin. It's really just about is there one partisan on that jury that's going to hang it up? Yeah, Ribbons. I love it. I think it's great. I've been getting into it lately. But no, big props to Ribbons, Trailhead, Arbitoire. Sorry, Arbitoire. Davey, of course. Thank you again, Davey, Woke Patriot, Chem Goblin, and Y. I think that's Tisriel, maybe? No, Tisriel's a different name. Gaius, big props to you. Gaius, Flavius, Josephus. Big props. Ribbons. Kind of a slow stream today. Big props to Lenny, #1 financial contributor to the stream, Lenny. Chem Goblin, once again, big props to you, Chem Goblin. Thank you for being #1 in the chat. It was very lonely for that first 5 minutes. So thank you for being here. The True Steel. Hey, thank you, The True Steel, for coming back. I do appreciate it. I like your stream. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Gaius. Yeah, this is the News Underground, the realest motherfucking news show on Twitch. Bar none. Nobody covers more topics. Nobody gets into the details like we do. It's a learning. It's a real learning experience here. Big props to Ice King of Space for coming back. Thank you again, Ice King. And there you go. That's the Discord if you want to help out the News Underground, or if you would like to just see the discussions about these various stories that we have. Trying to get my head straight. Estonian. Thank you. Big props to you, Estonian. Elam. Thank you, Elam. Big props to you, Elam. Thank you again for that follow, Elam. Big props to our friend out there in Germany, Blue Brother. Thank you, Blue Brother, for giving us that very stoic German perspective. I can feel the stoicism coming from every word from Blue Brother. So it's always nice to hear from Blue Brother. And yeah, so kind of a slow stream, not blowing it up. I think a lot of people are enjoying their lives today. They're not watching Twitch, or maybe there's some great boobage. Maybe there's some tickos happening on Twitch. Let's take a quick look. Maybe we'll do a raid. Should we do a quick raid? Let me see. Where is it? Oh, there's no boobs on the recommended. Where's the boobs? No, there's no boobs on the recommended. You got QT Cinderella here baking cookies and stuff. Has Twitch changed for the better? Where's my boobage? Okay, extra Emily. Oh, she's 8K. 8K extra Emily. Here we go. We got to have some boobs this way. Sweet Anita. No, she doesn't show her boobs. Does extra Emily show her boobs? I don't know. Why did I decide to turn into a massive sexist right before I leave? According to Anderson Cooper, he was momentous. There was a momentous shift after the defense proved his phone call with Trump was about a 13-year-old girl harassing him instead of what he testified that was about hush money. Oh, well, look at this. Extra Emily, not showing her boobs, just cooking some food. Hey, Twitch has changed for the better. Where are the long pumpkins? Oh, my God. You just made it way worse, Lenny. You just made my sexism way worse. I just can't believe there's no boobs. Usually after the end of my stream, there's like at least one like on the recommended, like showing her boobs. No boobs. It's great. It's great news. Twitch for the better. Look at 15,000 people watching this. 15,000 people watching this. 15th. What? Okay, we're watching a cat get trimmed. Okay. Next video. So wow, she just rakes it in, huh? She making money doing this? Oh shit. Man, I'm fucking up, man. My stream sucks. I'm fucking up big time. Watch a cat getting washed. Yeah, I know, Cam Goblin. Your generation seems to be into this crap. I couldn't watch this for more than 5 seconds. Guess we'll see. Probably still get a conviction. Yeah, I don't know, Trailhead. I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. I mean, the Trump did such a good job. Mitch McConnell and Trump did such a good job ruining our justice system by installing, you know, judges like Eileen Cannon. And, you know, like I said, you know, Trump and his lawyers, you know, are, you know, used expert, you know, profilers to try and find, you know, jurors that were lying about being nonpartisan but are actually partisan. Literally watch catnip videos today. Catnip is funny. Kitties with catnip is pretty funny. I just want to apologize for my sexism earlier. I don't think big boobs are great. I think it's sexist to enjoy looking at big boobs. I just thought I would let Twitch know that and Jeff Bezos know that I think big boobs are sexist, and I'm sorry. You know, for my behavior. Folks, I'd like to remind you that the only way to create political change is with political activism, and political activism is actually not that scary. It's actually incredibly easy to achieve the goals of the political activists. It just requires consistency. That's really it. The thing that kills political movements is apathy, 90% of the time. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, put your name down. And step 3, put in the work. Like Charlie, smells like poop, Kirk. This is how we achieve political victory. It's the only thing that's ever worked, as friend of the stream Clutch Cargo likes to remind us. Political activism is the solution to our problems. The left needs to meet the organization and aggression of the right with political activism. And Kuchensfood. We say these things. Kuchensfood. Soup. Thank you, AI image generation model, for the stream's newest catchphrase. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East, and glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Folks, you know, I still feel good. You know, seeing the Ukrainians fight the way they do, this isn't over. Not by a long shot. We'll be covering it to the very end here on the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism. Take care of yourself. Have a good Saturday. Go Canucks. I'm a sports person. I'm a sports guy. I'm into sports now. I'm a jock. Canucks are good. My team is better than your team. Okay? Have a good day. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Absolutely. Take care of yourself, everybody. Thanks again, Lenny. Big props. More Lenny. Hashtag more Lenny. Thank you, Ribbons. Thank you. Lenny. Thanks again, folks.